गुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि श्री गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। प्रेज श्रीमद् भागवतम। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जय मुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तनं हृदयन्तस्तु अभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। सर्वशास्त्रादि पीयूष सर्ववैदिक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाद्य सर्वलोकैक दृक्प्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवतो प्रभु कलिद्वंतोतितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाथाय प्रेम वर्ष अक्षराय ते सर्वद सर्वसेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुते। मद एक बंधु मद संगेन मद गुरुन् मद महादन मन निस्तारक मन भाग्य मद आनंद नमोस्तुते। असाधु साधु तादाइन अति नीचो च ताकर हा नामुंचा कदाचिन मां प्रेम न हृत कंथयो स्पुरः। श्रीमद् भागवताम की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवताम की जय। Okay, so Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you all so much for joining. Okay, so nice to see all of you Sunday morning. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we are in chapter 7, third canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavata. And today we are going to start off by reading lots of questions. And that is the theme in Srimad Bhagavatam. The hearer, they get excited and says, we want to hear more. And because they don't want the conversation to start, they actually just keep listing, please talk about this, please talk about this, please talk about this. And they have so many questions, right? So today we'll be reading about the questions that Vidura is going to ask Maitreya Rishi. But before that, let's just review in 3.7. Anyone remembers what are the main points we have talked about? So we stopped, I think, at text number 20, right? And there's some beautiful verses in that part. Any points you remember before we get started?
Vidura asks mainly questions about the Lord and the Jiva.
Okay.
That was the beginning of the.
Okay. Anything specific in that?
So why the Lord being uh, maybe
Chinmatrasya.
Chinmatra, yeah, but why is he not entangled with all the material? And why is Jiva being Krishna very next to him as Paramatma? Why is he getting covered with the.
Very nice. Yeah. The first question he asks is about Chinmatrasya. The Lord is completely spiritual. So how is it that the three modes of material nature are even manifested from the Lord? Does that mean that the Lord is affected by the three modes of material nature? That's the first part of the question. And then second part, he talks about like how children, they actually play, but there is some inspiration behind that. But the Lord has no inspiration to even perform this as a pastime. Then why would the Lord even actually engage in this entire task of creation, right? And then the second question is about the living entities, and he actually says the jiva is always, as no time when the jiva is separated from his consciousness, and his consciousness as such is always pure. Then how is it possible that jiva comes in contact with the material nature, right? How does the jiva actually come in contact with ignorance? These are two questions, and then he made the point that even like Paramatma is always next to the jiva. So how is it the jiva engages in activities which is actually unfavorable to the jiva, right? And then we read the answer, and it was actually one verse where Maitreya Rishi has explained the answer. One verse, the main verse, and then he elaborates on that, and he basically makes the point. We talked about how the three modes of material nature is actually reflection of the original nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So just like we cannot separate a reflection from the source, right? If there's sun, there's going to be reflection. Because of the presence of sun, you have clouds, you have snow, you have rain, but the clouds and the rain and the snow, they have properties which are contrary to that of the sun, right? So similarly, yes, and the three modes of material nature, they are kind of a reflection of the supreme of the Satchit Ananda feature of the Lord. We discussed that, and hence we see that this is certainly an energy of the Lord. The three modes of material nature are the energy of the Lord. It cannot be said that there is something else that is causing the three modes of material nature. It is coming from the Lord, but just like the sun is not affected by the rains and the clouds, similarly, the Lord will never be affected by this influence of the three modes, right? That's the main point, and we talked about the living entities also further. And the two examples were given, right? One was, yes. Okay. Who remembers two examples? One example that comes again and again, right, in the Srimad Bhagavata is what? The example of the sun and the sun, right? So the sun rays can be affected by the clouds, but the sun is never affected by the clouds, right? So living entities can be affected. And the other one we read is like the living entities feeling distress is just like in the dream, a man sees his head cut off, right?
Yes.
But there's actually no factual reality to that. First of all, it is a dream, and in that dream, how can anyone see his head cut off? Right? So actually, there is no connection between the jiva and the suffering, but there is the experience of the suffering for the jiva because of false identification, right? And similarly, we made another beautiful example is what? The moon reflected on the surface of the water, right? So moon as such is never affected by the water, but because the reflection is on the surface of the water, the waves of the water or the ripples on the surface of the water, they move and it appears that the moon is actually changing, right? So similarly, because jiva is right now in the nature of material, in the material nature, it appears that the jiva is actually going through the ups and downs, right? But actually jiva is independent of the suffering, but he actually experiences the uh, suffering. So he's not connected to suffering, but the experience of suffering is not cannot be denied. Cannot be denied. Right? We made the example of like a person watching a movie. He's so away from the movie, but still he may cry, he may feel pain and all those things. Right? But is he actually feeling all those things? I mean, it's like because he's connecting himself with the hero in the movie, he's actually saying, "Oh, the hero got hurt, hence I am feeling hurt." But that is only because of false identification. Right? So experience is real, but the suffering is not real for the jiva, right? And after this, he actually gives a solution. And what is the solution? The famous verse, Ashesha Sanklesha Samam Vidatte. All are Ashesha Sanklesha. So many miseries, all of them can be Samam Vidatte, can be vanquished by what? Gunanuvada Shravanam Murare. Right? Gunanuvada, by actually glorifying, by engaging in hearing and chanting the glories, Gunanuvada, Shravanam Murari, of Murari, and then Kimva Punasta Charanaravinda Paraga Seva Ratir Atmalabdha. What to talk of those who have actually obtained Charanaravinda, the lotus feet of the Lord? What happens to those who have direct affection for the lotus feet of the Lord? So just by hearing Harikatha, all our miseries are washed away. What to talk of those who actually have a taste for the dust of the, and in particular was saying the taste for the flavor of the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. What to talk of those? You mentioned this last time. It's a very beautiful point. So one is sadhana bhakti and the second one is raga bhakti. And what happens in raga bhakti?
Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva.
Can control the
Lavang Manjari Mati was saying?
can control the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes, the Lord is actually controlled by the love of his devotees. That's the point of Rag Bhakti, right? And then so that is answering the question. Then Vidura, he actually, says like, "Oh, your words are so nice. You have answered such nicely, such convincing words, Sukta Sina, that my mind is entering into them." And he actually says, "Everything you have explained is so perfect." And then he actually says, "I was actually in the lowest. I was thinking that yes, I knew all this, and I was feeling I was happy, right?" So he makes a point: the lowest of the fools, right, are happy, and the one who is translate realize they are happy. Everyone in between is suffering. And you're saying, I was actually thinking I'm happy, but actually I wasn't ignorant. But your answers have taken me to a transcendental realization. And now I'm feeling happy by your beautiful answers. And then he talks about like, yes, I understood all this, but to actually realize that how suffering is external to the jiva, what one needs to do? To actually convert our knowledge that we are receiving, the philosophy, to actually practical realization, what one should do?
Hearing and chanting.
Okay, beyond that. So hearing is only by hearing we are getting this knowledge.
Service.
Yes, service to the pure devotees. So only service actually converts our knowledge that we are receiving into practical realization. Right? And then further he talks about this is the importance of serving Vaishnavas, serving devotees of the Lord. And two results of that service is, one is we develop Rati Rasaha. We get Rati, we get transcendental ecstasy, right, in that relationship. And second is all our material distress is washed away. But then he says, Durapahi alpatapasa seva vaikunta vartmasu yatro pagita nityam deva devo janardana. Beautiful verse. Another verse for memorization. So Ashesha Sanklesha Samam Vidate is one verse, and then Durapa Hi Alpatapasam. So 14 and 20 are verses for memorization. Right? So it says Durapa Hi Alpatapasa Seva Vaikunta Vartmasu. What is Vaikunta Vartmasu? Those who are on the path going back to Godhead. Right? So it could refer to both sadhana bhakti and sadhana bhaktas and also pure devotees. Right? Yatropagayite nityam deva devo janardana. Right. So it is so rare to alpa tapasa to actually is so durapa. It's so rare to actually obtain the service of the pure devotees who are constantly glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they are on the way back to Godhead. So basically that service to Vaishnavas is so rare. Okay. So now we'll continue with text number 21. So any comments, questions up to this point?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, I like in the purport of text 19, as Prabhupada is saying that just like Lord Shri Krishna is Madhusudana, he is also the enemy of the suffering of his pure devotees.
Mhm. Very nice. Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
Prabhuji, like one question I'm trying to ask, like um, you mentioned like it's like a dream. So how do I understand that, Prabhu? Like this life is a dream, or
Our material existence itself is like a dream. Uh, See, this goes back to the whole point that how, Vidura is asking the question that how is it possible that Jiva, who is actually pure in consciousness, how is it possible that he can come in the illusion? You know? And our whole state right here in this material existence is compared to a dream. Why? Because what happens in dream, when you sleep and you're in dream, your consciousness right now is actually kind of dormant, right? It's not active. Your senses are not active, right? So similarly, entering into this material world means our true active spiritual senses are not active. Our true spiritual senses, because we have those we have a spiritual mind, spiritual eyes. All those are actually not active, and our true consciousness, which is supposed to be always in connection with Krishna, is actually now dormant. So when we go into a dream, we forget who we are. Right? We forget our true identity. So similarly, coming into this material world, we have forgotten who we truly are, and we are connecting. So in the dream, we may see, oh, I am this, I am Bill Gates, I am this, Steve Jobs, we may see so many personalities. We may connect that, oh, I am such a rich person. It's not reality. But in the dream, we are actually thinking we are so and so. So similarly, entering into the material world means we are actually connecting. Oh, I am Aditya, I am this, I am Indian, I am this, all these designations. So hence that a material existence itself is compared to a dream. And we talked about this last time. Hence, what should we do? Jeev Jago, Gora Chandrabhaga. We are sleeping in whose lap?
Maya's?
Maya's lap, right? So we just have to wake up and say like, no, I need to be on the lap, or I should be always at the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. But I have selected a master of Maya, right? I should change my master and connect back to Krishna. So hence our entire material existence is compared to a dream-like state, right? But we have to wake up. But from a dream, maybe someone will come and just like hit us or like call us and we immediately wake up. Oh, it's getting late, we wake up. But because our conditioning is so strong in this material world, it takes us time to wake up, right? Just like sometimes you're in very deep sleep, and just to wake up, it takes you time, It's like you're awake, but you're still kind of asleep, right? So similarly, our state is like that because we have been sleeping for such a long time, and the sleep is so deep that it takes us time to wake up. So sadhana bhakti is a process by which we are waking up. Like now, it's common like in this, in the world, they say like, oh, unless I get my cup of coffee, I cannot wake up. So even though people are there, it appears they are awake, but they need the caffeine just to wake up or get out of consciousness. So even now we can see that their sleep is so, they sleep so deeply that to wake up, they need some external stimulant. Right? Imagine our sleep in this material. It is deep and it's going on for such a long time. Hence, it is a process of sadhana bhakti to actually wake up from our deep life state. Okay? Okay.
Prabhuji, I want to mention that the first word of text 18 is Arth Bhava. This material existence is without any substance,
Yes.
though it appears so real.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mata. Good point. Okay, so let's continue text 21. So 21 onwards up to text 38 of this chapter. We are going to go very quickly because it is all questions, and Prabhupada also is not giving, acharyas don't give elaborate commentary. It is a list of questions, right? Where did we see a similar list? Who else has given a big list of questions?
Parikshit too.
Yeah, Parikshit in the second canto, chapter 8, almost half of the chapter or more than half of the chapter is a list of questions. And here the point is actually made because Vidura's thinking is like that of Parikshit, he's asking similar questions. And that's the reason Sukadev Goswami is quoting this conversation because he said, oh, Parikshit Maharaj, you have asked all these questions, but similar questions were asked by Vidura And when Maitreya is giving the answers, that answers will also answer your questions, right? And that is the theme of the Bhagavatam. It's always conversation. You ask a question and say, oh, same question was asked by so-and-so. Hence, I will tell you that it's throughout Bhagavatam, right? Okay, so let's continue. Text number 21. So as I said, we are going to go fast through these verses. There's not much explanation. Okay, so text 21. Ratna Radhika, can you start? Okay, so maybe someone can start. Okay, Sri Radhamata, you can start. Sanskrit and English.
Hare Krishna. Sristwagre mahat adini swavikrani anukramat tebhyo virajam uddhritya tam anu pravishad vibhu. Translation: after creating the total material energy, the Mahat Tattva, and thereby manifesting the gigantic universal form with senses and sense organs, the Supreme Lord entered within it.
So basically now before asking the questions, Vidura is summarizing what you have already described because he wants to continue on that theme and go further into detail, right? So what does he say? Shristva, creation, that's what we have been reading in the previous chapter, right? The entire aspect of creation. Agre, in the beginning, when there was a creation, then what happened? First thing is Mahatadini. Mahatadini is what? Mahat Tattva, the total material energy. We talked about this Mahat Tattva. And then after that, what happened? B, the second point. So first is Mahatadini. Second point is Anukrama. Anukrama by gradual process of differentiation. What is this gradual process of differentiation? Where did we read like differentiation going this after this, after this, after this?
Explanation of the Virat form.
No, before that. From Mahat Tattva, what was the the differentiation?
The Tanmatras and
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So we read that whole chart, right? Coming from Pradhan, Mahatattva, then Ahankar, then in three modes, all that coming to the elements, that entire process of differentiation. So he's kind of summarizing that first, what happened? Mahatattva, Mahatadini, then Anukrama, this process of differentiation, that's an entire chart. And then what happened? Anu Pravisha Vibhuhu, right? After Tanmatras and Devtas were created, what did we read before? What happens after that?
Demigods?
Yeah, demigods. Yeah, what happens after the demigods are created?
They don't know what to do. They pray to Krishna.
Yeah, they pray to right, Karunakshay Vishnu that yes, we are disunited in our purpose, and we read those beautiful prayers. And then after the prayers, then the other aspect that happens is Anu Pravishad Vibhuhu. The Lord actually entered into them through his creative energies. So that's the third point. Then fourth point is Uditra. Uditra Virajam. Uditra Virajam. What does that mean? Viraja is what? Virat Rupa. Right? So basically, after that, after the fourth point is the gigantic universal form, the Virat Rupa was created. Right? So he summarized that entire aspect of creation in 4 points. And he's saying these 4 things have happened. Right? And why is he summarizing? Because he's saying that, okay, this is all has been described, but I want to hear further. And this will relate to his further questions. Okay? Okay, next verse. Go ahead. Anyone would like to?
Hare Krishna, text 22. Yam ahur adyam purusham sahasrangre uru bhavukam yatra vishwa ime loka savikasham ta asate. The Purusha incarnation lying on the casual ocean is called the original Purusha in the material creations, and in his Virat Rupa, in whom all the planets and other inhabitants live, he has many thousands of legs and hands. Hare Krishna.
So 2 personalities have been described, right? What is that? Yam Ahu, right? The one who is called Adyam Purusham. Adyam is the original personality of God, the original incarnation for cosmic manifestation. And who is that? Who's the Karunakshay Vishnu, right? Karunakshay Vishnu. And then further it says, and in his Virat Rupa as what? Sahasra Angi. 1,000 legs, right? Uru, thighs, Bahukam, hands, right? That Vishwarupa, Vikasham, right? With respective developments. It's from the Vishwarupa. What do you talk of? 14 planetary systems and how each part of the Vishwarupa represents different aspect of the creation. That is the 4 Varnas from the Vishwarupa, everything. Okay? So all that is here. So he's basically listing that you have already explained all this. And then Prabhupada in the purport talks of first Purusha is Karmadaksha Vishnu, second is Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and third is Shirodaksha Vishnu. And it is this Shirodaksha Vishnu in whom the Virat Purusha is contemplated. Right? So very nice Prabhupada used the word contemplated. The Virat Purusha is contemplated. Right? So it is not an eternal form of the Lord. It is a manifestation of the Lord for us to understand this aspect of creation. Okay? Everyone with me? Okay. Next question, 23. So, Ratnavika, and also the list if you have put it.
Yasmin dasha vida prana sendriyartendriyas driyastribrit tvayerita yato varnas tad vibhutir vadasvanaha. I don't have the list yet. Somebody can read.
Hare Krishna. O great Brahmana, you have told me that the gigantic Virat form and his senses, sense objects, and 10 kinds of life air exist with the 3 kinds of life vigor. Now, if you will kindly explain to me the different powers of the specific divisions. Hare Krishna.
So we read this 10-3-1 concept. You remember? 10-3-1. So basically it's a Yasmin. In that universal form, you iritaha, you describe 10 life as along with Sendri Sa Indriya Artha, right? Indriya Artha. So along with that, you talked of the senses, Indriya, with Trivrit. Trivrit is 3, right? That is 10, 3, and 1, right? So what is that 3 kinds of life air he talks about here? So there's 10 kinds of life air, and then 3 here refers to the 3 kinds of life vigor. So there's Saha, there is Oja, and there is Bala. Right? So if you see a Sanskrit, you can see Saha, Oja, and Bala. So Saha is the strength of the mind, Oja is the strength of the senses, and Bala is the strength of the body. Right? And then Yataha, and then further he says, Vadasvanaha, I want to know more about these specific divisions. So the divisions of the 4 Varnas, which actually come from the 3 kinds of life vigor, he wants to learn more about it. Right? So basically it's a question. I want to know more about this, like Prabhupada elaborate on the purpose. So he says, you have told me the gigantic Virat form and his senses, sense objects, and 10 kinds of life air. So we talked about that. They exist with 3 kinds of life vigor. Right? So that 3 kinds of life vigor is the Saha, Oja, and Bala. So it's not there in the Sanskrit, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually explains that Saha is the strength of mind, strength of senses is Oja, and then strength of Bala, body is Bala. Right? So that is 3 bit here. And then he said, I want to kindly explain the different powers of specific divisions. So 4 Varnas, what are their powers, etc. Okay. 24. So there's not much to explain, and we are just listing the questions here. So we are going to keep going on. 24.
Yatra putraischa potraischa naptribhi saha gotrajay prajavit vichitra kritaya asan yabir idam tatam. Karuna Mataji.
Oh, my Lord, I think that the prowess manifest in the forms of sons, grandsons, and family members has spread all over the universe in different varieties and species.
So putrahi, sons, pautrahi, grandsons, natrabihi means grandsons from daughters, saha along with gotra jahi prajaha, generations of the same family, vichitra, different kinds. So basically asking that from the aspect of creation, you have, so we'll read further, that Brahma, he has the task of creating progeny, right? And then for that, First he actually creates, we'll read about that, how the 4 Kumaras come, and the 10 sons of Brahma, all those they come. And finally it comes to a point of Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa. And then we'll read about their 3 daughters, 2 sons. So basically here is asking that, okay, how is that progeny coming out? That from Brahma, how is the creation actually taking place? So talking of sons, grandsons. And if you see the remaining cantos, basically it is just this. Swayambhuva Manu and 5 children. And then who are the descendants, grandsons, great-grandsons of these. And that's what we are going to read. So one of the son is Uttanapad. Uttanapad's son is
Dhruva Maharaj.
Dhruva Maharaj. And then further we read about his descendants. Right? So that's what he's asking. 25.
Prajapatinam sapatish chakripe kan prajapatin sargams chaivanu sargamscha manu manvantaradipan.
Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O learned Brahmana, please describe how the leader of all the demigods, namely Prajapati, Brahma, decided to establish the various Manus, the heads of the lakes. Please describe the Manus also, and please describe the descendants of those Manus. Hare Krishna.
So further he's saying that Prajapati Nam, right? So the demigods like Brahma and others, Saha Patihi, right? So so the second part is Pati Chak, right? Where is it? So Prajapati Nam, demigods like Brahma and others, Saha, he, Patihi, so he's namely the Prajapati, Brahma, decided to establish then the fathers of all living entities. So that Prajapati Nam is actually referring to the Manu. Manu is what? The father of mankind. Manu, right? So he's asking about that. And then please describe the Manus and Manvantara Adipan, the changes that happens or the descendants of Manu. 26. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually makes a point that this similar question was asked by Parikshit in 2.8. Because Vidura and Parikshit, both of them are such exalted devotees, they have a same way of thinking. Hence, they are asking similar questions. 26.
Uparyadascha ye loka bhumir mitratmaja sate tesham samstam pranamanam cha bhurlokasya cha varnaya.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. O son of Mitra, kindly describe how the planets are situated above the earth as well as underneath it. And also please mention their measurement as well, that of the earthly planets. Hare Krishna.
Upari, above. Adaha, underneath. Underneath what? Bhume, the earthly planet. So planetary systems which are above the Earth planet and which are below the Earth planet. And how do they exist? Asate. Samstam, what is their situation? Then Pramanam, what is their measurement? What is the circumference of the Earth? Right? What is the distance from the Earth and the Sun? All that will come in the 5th canto. Right? So that is what he's asking here. Bhulakya of the earthly planet. Varnaya, please describe all these. Right? So proper in the purport, he starts off by saying, Yasmin Vigyate Sarvam Evam Vigyatam Bhavati. We have heard this before, we have discussed this before. The meaning of this is how a devotee knows everything material and spiritual in relationship with the Lord. So who can explain this point? How does a devotee know everything material and spiritual?
By reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, following the footsteps of the pure devotees like him.
By reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, but how does a devotee know everything?
Krishna guides the devotee, the pure devotee. Krishna give the knowledge and the guides.
Yeah. So the key point
By
is,
the grace of the Lord.
yes. So Prabhupada actually make this statement in his conversations you can hear. So he asks, like, why does Sunday come before Monday? Why? And he's challenging, like, and I think even like our Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, the scientist, he's also there. And he's saying like, you don't know why Sunday comes before Monday? And Prabhupada makes the point. Because the sun is closer than the moon. So first the sun comes and then the moon. So first Sunday, then Monday. And that's how Prabhupada explained. And one will be like, how is it true? Like we say, I mean, we in the sense of materialistic scientists, they say the moon is closer. But Prabhupada says, no, the sun is closer. And that's why Sunday actually comes before Monday. Like how Prabhupada is actually making all these statements. And also like, he's challenging material scientists. Oh, they are saying this and this. And Prabhupada is like fearless, like challenging all the material scientists. And one may say like, yes, Prabhupada, like he's, he had a pharmaceutical business. So he had that knowledge. But Prabhupada is like, makes so many points, just like fearless, challenging all these material scientists and just like saying, oh, this. Where is Prabhupada getting all this knowledge from? And then the main point is, Krishna knows everything. And because a pure devotee is directly in contact with Krishna, then by the mercy of the Lord, then the devotee knows everything. Whatever the devotee needs to know for his preaching, Krishna will reveal everything to them. How many times have I made this point? The disciple goes in front of a guru, and without even the disciple saying something, the guru will make a point, which is exactly what the disciple needs to hear. And then not only that, like many times we hear them when disciples are sitting in a class, Prabhupada is speaking, and many of them will say, oh, that class was particularly just for me. That point he said, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And someone else may say, oh, that other point, that is exactly what I needed to hear. So because a pure devotee is directly in touch with Krishna, Krishna actually speaks through a pure devotee, and all the listeners, they feel like, oh, this is exactly Krishna is speaking to me through this pure representative. And hence that way, Yasmin Vigyate, Sarvam Egam Vigyatam Bhavati. A devotee of a Lord, he knows everything, material and spiritual, in relationship with the Lord. And we also made this point other time. Like someone challenged Prabhupada, how many windows are there in Empire State Building? Right? And what is Prabhupada's answer? How many drops of water are there in the mirage? It's like mirage, like, first of all, mirage itself is illusion. There's no water there. And if someone asks, like, how many drops of water are there in the mirage? It is a senseless question. Similarly, it is senseless to know how many windows are there in Empire State Building. What is that to do with anything? Right? But everything that is in relationship to Krishna, the devotee needs to know, Krishna will just reveal everything to that devotee. Right? So hence here, why Prabhupada is mentioning this? Because here Vidura is asking Maitreya, please tell me the measurement of this planetary system. One may say, Maitreya Rishi may say, I was never taught all this. No, he knows everything because Krishna is in contact with Krishna. Krishna will reveal all this. So that is all. In 5th canto, we'll read more about this sthanam aspect. Right? So if you actually see in the 10 aspects of Srimad Bhagavatam, one of them is Atra Sarga Visargasya Sthanam Poshanam Uthaya. Sthanam is all these planetary systems. So this is a question regarding to that aspect of Srimad Bhagavatam called Sthanam. Right? Okay, next 27.
Tiryan Manusha Devanam Sarisripa Patatrinam Vadana Sarga Samvyuham Garbhav Sveda Dvijo Vidham. Also, please describe the living beings under different classifications: subhumans, humans, those born of the embryo, those born of perspiration, those who are twice born, birds, and the plants and vegetables. Kindly describe their generations and subdivisions also.
So first he says Tirya and Manushya. So Tiryak is subhuman, Manushya is human beings, Devanam is superhuman. So just how he talked of earthly planet, above, below, similarly saying human category, above, demigod, and then lower planet. All this I want to hear. And then, our Shastras, they divide living beings, living entities into 4 categories. Right? So what are the 4 categories? So one is Garbha. Garbha is living entity is born of embryo. Right? That is basically human beings. Then second is Shveda. Shveda means living entity is born of perspiration. This refers to the worms, insects, etc. Second kind of birth. Third is Dvija. Living entity is born of eggs. Right? Eggs. That is birds. And fourth is Udbijam. Udbijam means living entity is born of seeds. Right? So plants, trees, etc. So all the living categories are divided into these four. Okay? So it's talking of Sarga and Samyutam, generation with specific division. Garbha, embryo, Sweda, perspiration, Dvija, eggs, Udbijam, seeds. So all these four categories I want to know. I mean, if you see the vastness of the questions that Vidura is asking, saying, I want to know everything basically. Planetary systems, upper, lower, measurement, then all the dynasties. I want to know all that. And here, all living entities. I want to know about all living entities, right? So, okay, further, let's see what else questions is in. And one may think like, how can someone have so many questions? And we'll read later on the purpose of asking so many questions. Okay, 28.
Gunavatar Vishwasya Sargastitapyayashrayam Srijata Srinivasasya Vyachakshvodara Vikramam.
Please also describe the incarnations of material modes of nature, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. And please describe the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his magnanimous activities.
Mhm. So Guna avatars. Who are the Guna avatars? The Lord in turn, who is in charge of mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So please talk about the Guna avatars. And then he talks of Sarga, Sthiti, Apyaya. Sarga is the creation, Sthiti is maintenance, Apyaya is destruction. Further he says, Srinivasasya. It's interesting we hear this word Srinivas. It's not so frequent. You have to check, maybe we can search in Vedabase, but I don't think anywhere else you see this word, the Lord referred to as Srinivas. But here is called Srinivasasya, a personality of Godhead. Please talk about his Udara Vikrama, his actually magnanimous activities. Udara, magnanimous activities, right? Okay. Yeah. So Prabhupada says how Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, they are principal deities for creation, maintenance, and destruction, but it is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the Ashraya. So what is Ashraya? What is the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam? What is the 10th final topic? Ashraya. So previously he asked about Sthana. Now he's asking about Ashraya. So one way, if you see this question, we are actually touching upon the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, 29.
Varnashrama Vibhagamscha Rupa Shila Swabhavatah Rishinam Janma Karmani Vedasya Cha Vikarshanam.
Hare Krishna. Oh, great says, kindly describe the divisions and orders of human society in terms of symptoms, behavior, and characteristics of mental equilibrium and sense control. Also, please describe the births of the great sages and the categorical divisions of the Vedas. Hare Krishna.
The first question is Varnashrama Vibhaga. Right? Varnashrama Vibhagasya. What is the verse? Bhagavad Gita? Varnashrama Vibhagasya. Famous. Chaturvarna Maya Shisham Guna Karma Vibhagasya. Right? Varnashrama Vibhagasya. So 4 divisions of Varna and Ashrama. Please talk about that. Right? This is actually explained where in Srimad Bhagavatam? In the 7th canto between Yudhishthira Maharaj and Narad Muni. Towards the end is all about all this. Then Rupa, Shila, Swabhava. So these 4 divisions, I want to know the Rupa, Shila, and Swabhava, the qualities, the personal features, the character of the 4 Varnas, 4 Ashramas, and then Swabhavata, particularly qualities like mind and sense control. Right? Also, I want to know about the Rishis, the sages, their Janma, birth, Karmani, activities. So the birth and activities of sages. Then also Vedasya Vikrama, Vikaranam. Oh, sorry, Vikarshanam. What is this? The categories of the Vedas. So we read in the first canto, right? Vyasadeva actually talks about like the categories, how he divided the Vedas into different categories. So here he's saying, okay, I want to hear more about the categorical divisions of the Vedas. And Prabhupada in the purpose says how these 4 Varnas, Ashramas, they are defined by what? By birth, right?
Guna karma.
right? So Prabhupada talks about that. And he gives an example, like here, we're talking of Vidura. And Vidura was born to
Shudra.
the Shudra, right? Shudra mother, right? So in spite of that, he has all the qualities of a Brahmana, or beyond that, all the qualities of a Vaishnava. So here itself, we see how Vidura is asking such intelligent questions. So contrary to his birth, we see he has all the qualities of a Brahmana. Right? Okay. Next, 29. Oh, sorry, 30.
Yagyasya cha vitanani yogasya cha pata prabho naishkarmyasya cha sankyasya tantram va bhagavat smritam.
Who's next?
Vijayaratham.
Vijayaratikam.
Hare Krishna. Translation Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Please also describe the expansions of different sacrifices and paths of mystic powers, analytical study of knowledge, and devotional service, all with their respective regulations.
So first he says Yagyasya. Yagya means sacrifice. Then Yogasya. Yogasya, mystic powers. Sankhya's means analytical study. And Prabhupada mentioned the point. When we talk of Sankhya Yoga, whose philosophy we follow? Kapila Dev. Right? So in third canto, further we'll read the story of Devahuti and Kapila Dev. So that's that aspect. And then last is Tantram. Normally Tantra, Prabhupada actually mentions this word. When we call of Tantra, they talk of black magic. But here actually Tantram is actually referring to the science of devotional service, which is actually compiled by Narad Muni. Narada Bhakti Sutras, right? So that aspect is actually known as Tantram. So devotional service. So Narada Pancharatra is there, right? Pancharatra and so on. So all this in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with Smritam. What are the regulative principles of devotional service, and all these different Yagyasya, Yogyasya, Sankhya's, and Tantram, right? And with their expansions, please explain all these things. Okay, 31. So I'm just going fast because there's not so much to explain. These are questions. Answers will come later on. Okay. 31.
Ashanda pata vaishamyam pratiloma niveshanam jivasya gatayo yascha yavatir guna karmajaha.
Please also describe the imperfections and contradictions of the faithless atheist, the situation of crossbreeding, and the movements of the living entities in various species of life according to their particular modes of nature and work. Hare Krishna.
The first one is Pashanda Pantha. Pantha means path, and the path of Pashandas. Pashandas are the faithless atheists. Right? So what is the path of the faithless atheists? And then Pratiloma means crossbreeding. Right? What does crossbreeding mean? That, when people of two different varna, like Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Brahmana, Vaishya, they get married, it is crossbreeding. And because of the crossbreeding, what happens? Right? So mixed caste, what happens? What are the imperfections and what are the contradictions of these two? Pashanda Pantha and Pratiloma. And then third one, he says, Jivasya Gataya. Talk about the movements of living entities according to the guna and karma. And Prabhupada says the evidence of different animals are because there is this cross breeding. A combination of different living entities in different modes, different species are actually evidence of this. Okay, and then, yeah. So Prabhupada talks how the faithless atheists, they do not believe in the existence of God, and thus their paths of philosophy are contradictory. So why would Vidura want to know this? The path of the atheist. Why would anyone want to know this?
Bhakti Srimad Bhagavatam is for everyone. So maybe if they read, they can recognize their characteristics.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, so see, the point is we develop faith in our bhakti by first of all knowing like the glories of bhakti, the process of devotional service, by seeing people who are devotees, by hearing from them, etc. But also at the time we actually hear about the negative, the contradiction in other philosophies. And we hear that, oh, that's what they are saying, but this is contradictory to the real truth. And hence our faith in bhakti actually increases, right? So one side we focus on the positive, other side we hear about the contradictions in the negative to actually further our faith in bhakti, right? So that's why he's actually asking about all this. Okay, 32.
Dharmartha kama mokshanam nimitanya virodataha bhartaya dandanetescha shutasya cha vidhim pritak.
You may also describe the non-contradictory causes of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification and salvation, and also the different means of livelihood and different sources of law and order as mentioned in the revealed.
So normally if you see, so here he's talking of dharma, artha, kama and moksha, right? Now if you see these four, one way they appear contradictory. Why is it? Dharma is religious principles. Artha is getting material prosperity. Kama is enjoying, right? Sense gratification. So if you see dharma, artha and kama, or dharma and kama, they appear contradiction. And then if you're talking of kama, where is the question of moksha? So he's actually saying how to actually follow these principles of dharma, artha, kama in avirodataha, which actually talk about these principles which are not contradictory, right, which is free of contradiction. How can one live practicing these four without these contradictions, right? And then, so that's that. And then the next question he asked is, Vartaya, what are the different means of livelihood? Danda nitehe, what is law and order, right? Shrutasya, as it is described in different shastras, right? What is law and order? So everything is there in the Bhagavatam. It's going to talk of law and order. That's also going to be explained. Okay, text 33.
Shradhasya cha vidhim brahman pitrinam sargameva cha graha nakshatra taranam kala vayava samstitim.
Please also explain the regulations for offering respects to the forefathers, the creation of the Pitraloka, the time schedule and the planets, stars, and luminaries, and their respective situations.
So if someone knows a little bit about astrology, there is graha, right? Planetary influence. And then there is nakshatra, which actually is stars. And then further they see a classification known as tarana, which is actually luminaries and constellations. So someone in astrology is seriously studying your chart, they will see what is the grahas affecting you, what is the nakshatras, and what is the tarana, right? Which is a constellation. And he talks further of kala, time, samstitam, what is the time, the duration, and the situation of all these planets, stars, and luminaries. And then further he says, so that's one question. The other question is, Shraddhasya Sargam. What is the periodical offerings to forefathers? Right? Pitra. Right? Pitra, we talk about that. So, and Prabhupada talks about how different planets have different time measurement. So 6 months on Earth planet is equal to 1 day in the heavenly planets. And so on. Okay. 34. So we're coming towards the end of this question list. 34. Let's go.
Dhanasya tapaso vapi yacheshta purtayo palam pravasastasya yo dharmo yashcha pumsa utapati.
Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please also describe the fruitative results of charity and penance and of digging reservoirs of water. Please describe the situation of persons who are away from home and also the duty of a man in an awkward position. Hare Krishna.
So Danasya Tapaha Putrasya. What is it? Yeah, Danasya Tapa Chapi Yat Sheshta Purtayo Phalam. Right? So it's basically talking about, okay, charity, penance, Purtaya. What is Purtaya? Digging wells, like digging reservoirs of water. Actually, this one act is considered as a very act of charity, a very pious activity. Actually, once I was outside with some like a book distribution event, and I met one group, and their whole mission was traveling all around India and digging wells in different villages. That's what they were doing. That was their seva, their main focus. Going to this village, digging a well, providing water to the village people. So this act, or act of digging wells or reservoirs of water, is actually considered a very pious act in our shastras. So here is saying, okay, please describe what are the fruitive results one can get by charity, by penance, by digging the wells. And pravasas tasya, and one who is actually away from home, what is his dharma, duty? So there are duties in terms of our regular situation and duties in terms of exceptions. So in an exceptional position, a brahmana can do this, which normally he is not supposed to do. And that's all described towards the end of the 7th canto. We'll see Narad Muni actually talks to Yudhishthira and says, oh, these are duties of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And then in terms of emergency situation, a Brahmana is allowed to do this, but certainly not this, right? So in terms of exceptions, what they can do and so on. Okay, now 35.
Yena va bhagavanstushyed dharma yonir janardanaha samprasidati va yesham etad akyahi me naga.
Who's next?
Oh, sorry, Mataji. O sinless one, because the personality of Godhead, the controller of all living entities, is the father of all religion, and all those who are candidates for religious activities, kindly describe how he can be completely satisfied. Hare Krishna.
So he has asked all these questions. But what is his real purpose of asking all these questions?
Pleasing the Lord.
In this verse, he actually comes to the real essence. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said that actually, in the starting of this conversation, what does Vidura tell Maitreya? When they meet, he says, I've already heard the lower topics from my father Vyasadeva. The Mahabharata, etc., etc. I've already heard these lower topics, and I don't want to hear this more. I want to hear Harikatha. Right? He already made that point in the starting. Now one may say he's asking this question, digging wells. That appears to be a lower topic. But here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says the word va, it starts off with the word va, yena va. Va means but. Yes, all these questions are there, and it's good to know. But please answer those questions, which is not one of those lower topics which I've heard from Vyasadeva. Please tell me all these topics only in relationship to Janardana. That with actually Tushet, the two words, Tushet and Samprasidati, which will actually give complete satisfaction to Janardana. Right? So please talk only of those topics which will give complete satisfaction to Janardana. Now, Janardana, what is the meaning of Janardana? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about this. Arjun calls Krishna Janardana in the first chapter. What is the meaning of Janardana? Jana? Ardhana. What is it?
The controller of all the living entities.
Yeah, controller and maintainer of all living entities, Janardana, right? One who actually maintains all living entities. So here, so Prabhupada says, so two words are used, Dharma Yoni, father of all religion, and Janardana, controller and maintainer of all living entities. So he's saying, Akhyay me, describe all these topics which will actually give complete satisfaction to Janardana. So Janardana, when we say controller or maintainer of all living entities, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further elaborates, he is the one who actually bestows things to all Jana. Because he is actually maintainer of all Jana, right? So he's actually bestowing things to all Jana. So here Prabhupada in the purport also elaborates on the Sakam Bhaktas. Because the translation, if you see, it says he is the father of all religion and all those who are candidates for religious activities. Now, who can we say are candidates of religious activities? So Prabhupada in the purport, he actually talks of, in Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter, there are 4 kinds of categories who are candidates for religious activities, 4 kinds of categories who are not, who are disqualified from connecting with Lord. Who are this? What's that?
Arthi Arthati Jnani.
Right? Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritina arjuna artho jigyasu arthati jnani cha bharatashava. So these four are qualified candidates. On the other side are those who are miscreants, right? Miscreants, duskritinaha. So those are not candidates, but four kinds of pious are candidates. Right? Now, Vishwanath Chakri Thakur gives another very nice example. So, point here, Janardana means one who controls and maintains all living entities. So, because Lord is the maintainer of all living entities, hence he is actually he is the father of all religious activities. So, please talk about that. But he gives another meaning of Janardana. He says Janardana means he who gives suffering to his pure devotees by the pain of increased prema. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is so like Rasika devotee. Saying Janardana means one who actually gives suffering to his pure devotees. Why would the Lord give suffering to his pure devotees? Didn't we just discuss that Madhusudana means, Mataji made the point, Madhusudana means one who takes away the suffering of his devotees?
To increase the separation anxiety, right? So lolyam.
So we see how Pandavas, they went through so much suffering, right? And Bhishma, when he was lying on the bed of arrows, he says, how is it possible that you all went through so much suffering when Lord Krishna is on your side, Dharmaraj Yudhishthira is on your side, Arjun is on your side? How is it possible, right? And then he makes a point, Nahi Kashit, sorry, no, I always get confused between two verses. Nahi, no, I'm thinking of it. So the verse is basically says that no one can understand the activities of the Lord. And finally, he comes to a point that everything, the suffering that the Lord, which appears for the pure devotees, is just to increase their prema. So here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying Janardhan actually means one who gives suffering to increase the prema of his pure devotees. So what is Vidura asking? Please talk about Janardana, that how the Lord increases the prema of his devotees. So you see how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is so rasika. He's bringing the point, yes, Janardana, yes. But we want to see how the Lord increased the prema of his devotees. Right? So that's the point. Okay. 36.
Anuvratanam Shishyanam Putranam Cha Dvijotama Anaprishtam Api Bruyur Guravo Dinavatsalaha. O best among the Brahmanas, those who are spiritual masters are very kind to the needy. They are always kind to their followers, disciples, and sons, and without being asked by them, the spiritual master describes all that is knowledge.
So Vidura has already asked so many questions. And I'm like, amazing. How can someone even think of so many questions? And basically, he has asked everything that is to be known. But after saying all this, what does he say? He says, okay, so we'll come. So, Dvija Uttama, O best among the Brahmanas, he's calling Maitreya Rishi. O Dvija Uttama, O best among the Brahmanas, and Ana Prishtam. If I have not asked anything in these questions, you please describe that also. So I've already asked so many questions, but if I missed any subject matter, you please describe. Why? Because the Guru is what? Dina Vatsala. Such a nice point. Dina Vatsala, the spiritual master, is very kind to the Dina. What is a Dina? So we have heard of Bhakta Vatsala, one who is very kind to the devotees. But here Guru is described as Dina Vatsala, one who is actually very kind to the Dina. Dina means one who is needy. Okay, so can someone make a comment on this point? Dina Vatsala, the spiritual master, are very kind to the needy. I want to look up one thing very quickly. What does it mean the spiritual master is Dina Vatsala? Like practically for us.
Prabhuji, sometimes we don't even ask, but the spiritual master discuss the topics that really helps us in our growth, spiritual growth.
So
The
that is
question
one
of the-
point. Yes, that is certainly one point from this verse. But further, like practically for us, what does it mean that God is Dina Vatsala?
He's connecting us to the Supreme.
Okay,
He's so kind to us.
okay. Okay. So yeah, go ahead.
Even like Jaga and Nimai, even the lowest person gets the more mercy. So we always
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So see, I was actually thinking of this line. So in Sri Guru Charana Padma, every day we sing in that for Guru Vandana prayers. In that it says Sri Guruna Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bandhu. Right? Adhama Janara Bandhu. He is the friend of the poor. Okay? Now, and here it says friend of the needy. Friend of the poor, friend of the needy. What does that mean that the Guru is a friend of the poor? That means we have to become poor, give away all our riches, and then Guru will be merciful. What is the point about the Guru being the friend of the poor and the needy?
Poor
That-
in the true knowledge.
Yeah.
What?
Who are poor in the true knowledge.
Okay, who are
Probably
poor
we have.
Okay. So you see, the point is from the disciple side, from the Shishya side, right? If you are really, oh Guru, I need your mercy, I need that wisdom from you. I am needy, I am poor. If we have that true humility, then to that extent, the Guru will actually reveal the knowledge to us. And hence, the Guru is actually known as Dina Vatsala. If you think that, oh, I know all this, Guru Maharaj, I know this. Then Guru says, okay, if you know this, then okay. Be happy with that. When you realize that you do not know, then I will actually give you more mercy. So from a disciple side, it's always the mood with friend of the Guru is, I am a fool in front of you. I do not know Guru Maharaj. You please reveal it to me. Unless you explain, I cannot understand. Right? That should always be the mood of a disciple in front of a Guru. And when the disciple sees that the Guru sees that the disciple is just completely in that mood of neediness or the poor, that please, I need your mercy, without that I am no one. Then the Guru will shower his blessings. Right? Hence the Guru is known as Dina Vatsala, or in the other one, Adhama Janara Bandhu. He is the friend of the Adhama, the poor. Right? So here Vidura is saying, because you, spiritual master, are very kind to the needy, I need this knowledge. So you please explain even the questions which I have not asked for. What is best for me to know? You please explain. And then further it says, Anuvratanam, Shishyanam, and Putranam. He says the Guru is always kind to his followers, his disciples, and his sons. He sees all of them with an equal vision because they are all dependent on the Guru. Similarly, I am dependent on you, O Vidura, O Maitreya. You please tell me what is the best for me to know. Right? That's a nice question to ask a spiritual master. Sometimes we say, oh yeah, I'm meeting my Guru, but I don't have a question right now. But the general question could just be that, oh, Guru Maharaj, what is my next step in my spiritual life? It's a very general question, but that means that I need your knowledge to know how to progress in my bhakti. Or you can just say, Guru Maharaj, please, like here he's asking, please tell me what I need to know to progress in my bhakti. Things like that, right? So here Vidura is asking, even any questions I have not asked, you please let me know the answer. Okay. Now 37.
Tatvanam bhagavamstesham katida pratisankramaha tatre mam ka upashriya shiryan ka usvid anusherate.
Please describe how many dissolutions there are for the elements of material nature and who survives after dissolutions to serve the Lord while he is asleep.
So one may say, if you see the flow, Didn't it appear that the previous verse should be the last question? He asked a list of questions and said, like, anything I have not asked you, please tell me. And then now again he's asking another question. What does this tell us about the mood of Vidura? The Vidura in so much excitement to hear, and he's asking, please tell me this, please tell me this. Oh, if I forgot anything, please tell me that also. Oh, actually, please tell me this also. We can see that eagerness in the heart of Vidura that he says, like, oh, please continue Harikatha. Please keep talking, because this is my real nectar. Right? And you see, Bhagavatam is so beautiful. List of questions, and then he's saying, oh, actually, I want to describe only that which gives satisfaction to the Lord. And then he's saying, oh, what I've forgotten, you please describe. Oh, actually, even this, his excitement, his eagerness to hear Harikatha is revealed through this flow. Right? So here says, oh Bhagavan, oh great sage, Tattvanam Katida Pratish Sankrama. That yes, there are many kinds of dissolutions. There's dissolution. Actually, there is a dissolution between each Manvantara. Then there's dissolution at the end of day of Brahma. Dissolution at the end of the life of Brahma. Right? So today we'll talk a little bit of the dissolution at the day of Brahma. That's next chapter. Right? And when this dissolution happens, Ke Upasiran, who are the ones who are saved from this dissolution? Who are the ones who are not affected by this dissolution? And Ke Usvit Anusaret. And when that desolation is happening, is the Lord also destructed? No. So if the Lord is present, there must be some living entities who are there who are serving the Lord. So who are they? Because Lord means there must be someone serving the Lord, right? So who are those living entities who serve the Lord even during the time of dissolution? Right? Such a nice, so intelligent questions one way, right? And then Prabhupada makes the point that how innumerable universes, they appear and disappear just by the breathing of Mahavishnu. And when the Mahavishnu breathes in, all the universes are destructed. During that time, there must be someone who's serving the Lord. I want to know about those personalities. Okay. And Prabhupada also makes the point that this proves that how in Chatushloki Bhagavatam, Aham evasam evagre, right? He basically says, I is the one who existed before this creation. I am the one who is existing during this creation. And even after this destruction, it is only I who exists. Right? But that I includes certain devotees who are actually always serving the Lord. And this already proves, so there's a Lord and the devotees who are always existing. And that proves that highest, it cannot be just one impersonal energy. There are, even in the eternal realm, beyond the dissolution, two personalities, the Lord and the servitor. Right? So both are there. So here, Prabhupada so expertly he makes the point. The Lord and his eternal associates remain after the dissolution, and then this verse question itself defeats the impersonal philosophy. Okay. Now 38. One more question.
Purushasya cha samsthanam swarupam va parasya cha jnanam cha naigamam yattad gurushasya prayojanam.
Hare Krishna. What are the truths regarding the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What are their identities? What are the specific values in the knowledge in the Vedas? And what are the necessities for the spiritual master and his disciples? Hare Krishna.
So basically he asks Purushasya. So first he asks about us living entities. What is sum? What is the absolute condition? Right? What is our eternal position? And then second, what is Sthanam? What is the nature of us? So what is our absolute condition and what is the nature of all jiva? So in the purport, what is the absolute nature of the jiva? What is the first point? What is the absolute nature of each one of us?
We are servants of the Lord.
Eternal servants.
Mode of service, right? So living entities are constitutionally servitors of the Lord. So even now, right now, we are engaging in seva, but we are actually serving our false identities. Right? So Prabhupada in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, he says, everyone is engaged in seva. A is serving B, B serves C, C serves D, and so on. everyone is engaged in seva, or we are serving our own senses. The service is there. We cannot take that away. That's the nature of the serve. But either we are serving our materialistic nature, our desires, our senses, or we render service to Krishna. That's the only difference. So what is Purushasya Sam? What is our absolute nature? And then what is Sthanam? What is our condition? Right? Yeah, what is our condition and the nature. Right? Then next, what is Swarup of the Lord? Who is particularly the word used, parasya. Parasya means who is actually the one worthy of worship, who is supreme, what is the swarup of the Lord, and the one who is actually worthy of worship. Then next, third question is Jnanam cha naigamam. Okay, and then he says Guru Shishya Prayojanam. What is the knowledge which is mentioned in the Vedas, which is necessary for the disciple to know from the Guru? Right. So basically, again, this is like the question, like, even if anything I have not asked for, you please tell, because you know what is best for me. So similarly, here he's saying, what is the knowledge in the Vedas that a disciple should actually know from the Guru? Right. Yes, Prabhupada in the purport talks about the Jiva's position, he's a constitutional servitor of the Lord. And then he talks about how the Lord, what is the Swarup of the Lord? Okay, let's see, what all verses can you talk about? The Swarup of the Lord. The, you know. If someone asks you, tell me about the Lord you worship, what verses come to your mind?
Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda
Yeah, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda
Anadiradir Sarvakar.
Yes. Anything else? You should be like, if someone asks you on the spot, what verses would you say to describe your Lord? What would you say? The one is, that is very nice, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Bhagavad Gita, any verse?
Aham
Krishna's
sarvasya.
prayer.
Okay, so Ratnadeka, you said which one?
Aham sarvasya Prabhu.
Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, Mata Sarvam Pravartate. Beautiful word. Shri Radhe Mata, you said something?
Arjuna's prayer. Parandhama Param.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Param
Yeah.
Dhama, what's the starting?
Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitra, Param.
Purusham Shashvatam Divya, right? Okay.
Namo Pankajanathaya.
That's a prayer of Queen Kunti. Okay. He's lotus, everywhere lotus, right? So that's fun. Huh?
Prabhu, I was thinking of Rupa Goswami says in his prayers to holy name, Shri Namashtakam, fifth one, he says, Agam Damana Nand Yashoda Nandano Nanda Shuno Kamala Nayana. He describes our Lord.
Oh, the Lord. Yes.
Vrindavan Gopi Chandra, Vrindavanendra. He is the moon of the gopis. He is the Lord of Vrindavan. Pranata Karuna. He is the saver of the surrendered devotees. He is the son of Yashoda. He is the son of Nand Maharaj. He has the lotus eyes.
Nice, very nice. So all these verses, so we should think about this. Like if someone asks us, glories of our Lord, we should have verses to actually say, okay, this. First, we should talk about verses. See, the verse Mata just quoted, that is, the Vrindavan mood, right? So we should have verses to, first of all, say verses like Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, Mata Sarva, that he is actually the creator of both the material and the spiritual world. Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. And then you can say something like Mata Parataram Nanyat, Kinchit Astidhanya, no truth superior to, that is my Lord, right? And then Prabhupada in the purport, he actually quotes Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarva Lokam Maheshwaram Suridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatvam Mam Shantim Richat. That's actually the beautiful verse to say. If someone asks, you can quote Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam. Very nice. And then gradually you can go higher, then you can come to Vrindavan Pasan. But you should have a whole list of verses. If someone asks, who is the Lord you worship? Who are you praying for? Okay, you should have everything to describe. Right? Okay. So Prabhupada purport, he focuses on the Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam verse, right? So, right. And okay. So that's it. So that completes our list of questions. Okay. Imagine the questions itself are so long. Each question could be like cantos, right? But basically, like here, he has asked everything that he wants, and that shows the eagerness of Vidura to know more and more and more. Right? So last few verses of this chapter is basically going to tell about Vidura. After asking all these questions, he actually expresses his confidence. He says, like, Maitreya Rishi, you know all this, and this is only from you can I know the answers to this question. Okay, so we'll do this last 4 verses are there, and we'll complete this chapter. Okay, so let's continue. So that's the end of the questions. Now we see Vidura's confidence in Maitreya Rishi. 39.
Nimitani cha tasyeha proktanya suribihi swato jnanam kuta pumsam bhaktir vairagyameva va.
Translation: Hare Krishna. Spotless devotees of the Lord have mentioned the source of such knowledge. How could one have knowledge of the devotional service and of detachment without the help of such devotees? Hare
So he says, Nimitani. Who is the source of all this knowledge? Right? So all this knowledge, where can you get from? Can you speculate and understand this knowledge? No way. Can you do research in your lab and say like, okay, now through my research, I will know these answers to these questions? No way. The only way we can actually know this, Nimitani, who is the source of all this knowledge? In this world, Proktani is Anaga Suribhi. Very nice word. Anaga Suribhi. Anaga means the spotless or the sinless, the pure devotees, Suribhi. It is only pure devotees who actually have this knowledge and can reveal this knowledge to us. So here Vidura is saying, oh Maitreya, you are actually Anaga Suribhi. You are a spotless devotees. And it is only these spotless devotees who are Nimitani, who are the source of this knowledge. And then further he elaborates on the knowledge. This knowledge is Swataha Jnanam, self-sufficient knowledge. If you get this knowledge, you have everything. It is known as self-sufficient. Swataha Jnanam. Okay. And then Kutaha, where from the living entity can get bhakti and vairagya, without receiving the mercy of a spiritual master, or this Anaga Suribhi. Right? Like yesterday we were discussing in one of the class that if you talk about like the jiva, our identity, right? We talk about the influence of time, kala. We talk about karma. We talk about our connection with the Lord. All these questions we cannot understand on our own. We need a spiritual master who is Anaga Surabhi, who is a spotless devotee. And only a spotless devotee can reveal all the answers to us. And Vidura is saying, oh Maitreya, you are the spotless devotee and you can reveal all these answers. Now, Prabhupada in the purport, he actually starts off by saying that inexperienced devotees, they actually say we can advocate self-realization without the help of a guru. We don't need a guru. We can figure it out. How would you defeat such a person? Actually, there are books written on this. There's a book written on Be Your Own Guru. Be your own guru. There's a whole book on this, and people actually make the point that you don't need a guru. You are your own guru. You can actually figure it out. But the whole point is actually by their writing, Be Your Own Guru, they are hoping that someone will read the book, and basically that means what? Accept them as their guru, right? So people are so in that mood that no, don't accept the guru. I am your guru, Don't accept the guru, but I'm your guru. That is their way. So they write books like Be Your Own Guru. But Prabhupada is actually saying they are inexperienced. This spiritual knowledge, the growth, our self-realization, we cannot get on our own. We cannot even understand who we are. Sanatana Goswami, Prabhupada often quotes this. When he actually met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said what? What's it? I'm forgetting one word. It says Gramya something Kahe Pandit. That everyone else says that I am Pandit. But I do not even know who I really am. I don't know my identity. People may say, oh, PhD, this, I have this degree, that degree, double PhD, a master. I do not know who I am. And I'm proud of my position. And how can we know who we are? Only by a guru. Only by a guru, right? So it is foolish to say that be your own guru, right? So they decry the need for a guru, but they become their own guru for others, right? And then Prabhupada goes how Vyasadeva, Lord Shri Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone accepted guru. Right? Why did Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, the all-knowing Lord, come and accept Sandipani Muni as a guru? And he learned 64 arts in 64 days. Did Krishna not know all the arts? No, he is the source of all knowledge. But still he accepted the guru to set the example. Everyone needs a guru, right? So that's the point. Okay. So Vidura is saying, Maitreya, you are Anaga Surabhi. It's only from you that we can get the knowledge. So you please reveal this knowledge to me. Okay, text 40.
Etan me prachata prashnan hare karma vivitsaya bruhi me gyasya mitratvad ajaya nashta chakshushaha.
My dear sage, I have put all these questions before you with a view to knowing the pastimes of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the friend of all, so kindly describe them for all those who have lost their vision. Hare Krishna.
So Etan me Prichata Prashan. All these questions, I have Prichata, I have asked you all these questions. Harera Karma Vivitsaya. With a desire to know what? I'd ask this question. Why is Vidura asking all these questions? What is his inner heart? And here is actually revealing. His inner mood is Harer Karma Vivitsaya. I want to know about the karma or the activities or the pastimes of the Lord. I'm asking all these questions so that these questions can actually lead to knowing about the pastimes of the Lord. Bruhime, kindly describe. And then who am I? I am Agyasya. Agyasya means I'm ignorant. Ajaya Nashta Chakshuhu, who has lost his vision by external vision. Right? And you are actually Mitra Tvat. You are the friend of all. So you please, because you are the friend of all, I am actually ignorant. So be a friend of me and you please reveal this knowledge, all the questions that I've asked, because I have a desire to know about the karma or the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Vidura's heart in asking all these questions is that he wants to know about the activities and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? That is his desire, his real desire. And because he wants to know, he's listing all these different questions. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually explains, right? Only with a desire to know about the pastimes of the Lord and to serve him, Vidura has asked these questions, right? And Vidura is actually thinking that when all these questions will be answered, what would you think when all these questions, if you know the answer, how will that help you in your spiritual life? If you know all the answers to these questions?
More humble and serve the Lord.
You're so humble. If you really get this knowledge in the right mood, then it increases your humility. You will have appreciation. Oh, the Lord is so great. I am so insignificant. It will make you humble. So true knowledge will make you humble. That's a nice point. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying Vidura is having the hope that yes, if all these questions are answered, then I will have complete concentration on the Lord's service with indifference to everything all. If I really understand all these questions, then when I do service, we'll have with complete absorption because I will know that Krishna, that's it, only Krishna. And I am so insignificant and I have that sweet relationship and I just need to be 100% focused in my seva to Krishna. So one is a point of humility and second is a point when we know about Krishna, then we can actually render service in the perfect mood without any distraction. In a 100% consciousness, we can actually offer seva to the Lord. So with full attention on the Lord, then I can actually serve him by knowing all these questions. So the inner heart of Vidura is to know the pastimes of the Lord so that he can actually render service to the Lord without any distractions, 100% be focused on the service to the Lord. And the other point here in this verse is the word mitratvat. So mitratvat means what? He's a friend of all. So just like Dina Bandhu, we talked about that. He's a friend of the poor. So here Vidura is saying, I'm Agya, I am ignorant. And you're the friend of all. The friend of the poor also, the ignorant. So you please reveal this knowledge. Another meaning of Mitravat is that Maitreya Rishi is known as Maitreya because he's the son of Mitra. The son of a personality named Mitra, hence he is known as Maitreya. So one can consider Mitravat as the son of Mitra, but underneath meaning is he is the friend of all, including those who are ignorant. And I am ignorant, you're my friend, so you please reveal this knowledge to me. Okay. Next, 41.
Sarve vedascha yagyascha tapodhanani chanaga jiva bhaya pradhanasya na kurviran kalam api. Vamsi Gopal Prabhu, did we miss you? Did we skip you?
I'm not sure, Mataji. I can read. 41. O spotless one, your answers to all these questions will grant immunity from all material miseries. Such charity is greater than all Vedic charities, sacrifices, penances, etc. Hare Krishna.
What is the greatest humanitarian work Prabhupada often says? Is to actually to distribute this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Because this is the real solution to all the problems that we face. So this verse is basically saying that point, in saying that your answers to all these questions, Sarva, and then he says Veda, Yagya, Tapaha, Dana. So Veda, referring to all divisions of Vedas, sacrifices, tapaha, penances, and charities, all together cannot form even a part of that immunity one can get from from the material suffering than one can get by receiving this knowledge. By receiving this transcendental knowledge, we are burning away all our suffering. And that kind of burning of our suffering cannot even compare to studying the Vedas, offering sacrifices, penances, and charity. There's no comparison. Anaga, O spotless one, right? So, Jiva Abhaya Pradhanasya. Jiva Abhaya Pradhanasya. Pradhanasya means one who gives Abhaya to the Jiva. What is Prabhupada's name? Abhaya Charanara Vinda. Fearless at the lotus feet of the Lord, right? So how can we become fearless in this world? Only by receiving this knowledge of Krishna. So Vidura is saying that only by receiving this knowledge, I can actually become fearless. All my material miseries will be washed away. I'll become abhaya, right? Only by this. So by you giving this knowledge to me, it will give assurance of immunity from all material miseries, right? And then it says Kala Kurviran. That kind of immunity I cannot get even if I do Vedas, Yagya, Dana, and Tapaha. Right? So I cannot get, but only through this. So Prabhupada again he makes the highest perfectional work of charity is to give people in general immunity from all the anxieties of material life. Right? That's why when you go for book distribution, we say what? These books help you reduce stress. Have you heard of stress before? Our lines, right? So the book on yoga and meditation that helps you reduce stress. And it's true. All our anxieties in life can be taken away only through this transcendental knowledge. Right? All these other activities like Dan cannot even compare to this receiving this transcendental knowledge. Right? So hence, again, we see the nice verse to encourage people to distribute books, distribute Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So clearly Vidura is saying nothing else compares to the charity of giving transcendental knowledge. Okay. Last verse of this chapter.
Shri Shuka Uvacha Sa Ittam Aprishta Purana Kalpaha Puru Pradhanena Muni Pradhanaha Pravriddha Harsho Bhagavat Katayam sanchoritastam prahasannivaha. Arundhati.
Was always enthusiastic about describing topics regarding the personality of Godhead, began to narrate the descriptive explanation of the Puranas, being so infused by Vidura. He was very much enlivened by speaking on the transcendental activities of the Lord. Thanks.
Sa itam aprishta. Prishta. Again, the same. Prichan, right? After being questioned, all these questions, then Purana Kalpa. Maitreya is the one who knows Purana. So Purana Kalpa. Muni Vardhana, the chief of the sages, he actually become Harsha. Harsha means what? Becomes very happy. And why is Maitreya Rishi very happy? Like one may say, like, wow, so many questions. What is this? But Maitreya Rishi, when he heard all these questions, he was like enlivened. He was like, wow, so many questions. Now I can just continuously speak Harikatha. I have so many topics to speak about. I can just go on and on glorifying my Lord. Right? So he became Harsha, he became very happy. And then Kathayam, he started to speak topics of the personality of Godhead. And Sanchodita, being so infused, he replied with Prahasan. So two words are there. Harshan, Harshaha and Prahasan. Prahasan means smile and Harsha means he was enlivened from within to speak Harikatha. And then Maitreya Rishi starts speaking. Right? So that's how this chapter ends. Okay, so that's chapter 7, and then we'll move on to chapter number 8. Right. So before we go, we'll see if anyone has any comments, questions, realizations, and then we'll take a quick break, and then we'll continue with chapter number 8.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I really like the verse 36, that and how the spiritual master is so kind, and the disciples should have the mood of humility that I don't know anything. I am a fool, and that the Guru is Deen Vatsalam.
Prabhupada said one should always be a fool in front of one's spiritual master. So in the conversation between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ishwar Puri, there's a verse which actually says, Murkha tumi nahera veder adhikar. He says, this is actually Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Later he's telling Prakashananda Saraswati. The Prakashananda Saraswati asked Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why are you always chanting like this, like a sentiment, and like a bhavuk? You are a sannyasi. You should come with us and study Vedas. And what the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said? My spiritual master, he said, Murkha tumi nahera vedar adhikar. You're a fool. You don't have authority to Vedas. Hence, just chant the holy name of Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. But the point is, in front of spiritual master, one should always be a fool, but not act like a fool. There's a difference. Be a fool means having the mood of, yes, Guru Maharaj, I am completely dependent on your knowledge, your mercy. But one shouldn't act like a fool. One should act with whatever wisdom he's received from the Guru. Nice one. Okay, any other points?
Prabhuji, I have a question. Once actually a friend asked me, why you need a Guru? So at that time I said that the Guru will let me know who I actually are.
You said you have a question?
Yeah, so what else we can add? Like if someone asks you why you need a Guru?
So I mentioned this point. See, every one of us, we just analyze our situation. First of all, identity. I mean, we don't even know who we are. Are we our body? People say, I think, therefore I am. That means I'm a mind? No, that's not who we are. We don't even know who we are, and we are claiming that we don't need that knowledge. That's the first point. Second point, karma. We are all subjected to karma. Who can deny? Like we are working so hard, sometimes we get the result, sometimes we don't get the result. Everything is going well in our life, so we fall sick. All this influence of karma is coming. Shouldn't we ask the question of why am I subjected to all these ups and downs of life? I do not want misery, but misery comes of its own accord. Why is karma even acting on me? Shouldn't I ask this question? Anyone who's intelligent will ask this question. Right? So second aspect, karma. Third aspect, everyone in this world is subjected to temptations. It's a big problem. We are subject to temptations and we cannot overcome them. If you really are intelligent, you will actually admit that, yes, I have this temptation, I cannot overcome. If you're not admitting, that means you're a fool. So third point, temptation. How can we overcome temptation? Anyone you say, okay, is there a problem? Is there something that disturbs you, that distracts you? Everyone has some distraction, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, there are any of the social media or some kind of, or smoking, drugs, whatever. Everyone has. And we know that we shouldn't do it, but still we do it. Shouldn't we ask this question? Why are we forced to do certain things? I don't want to waste time, but I still do it. Shouldn't we ask this question? Anyone who's intelligent will ask these questions. And then the fourth question is what? We are thinking that by getting all these material things, I'll become happy. But how is that working out for you? You get like, okay, anything you buy, you can get all these material objects, but is that really giving you satisfaction? Anyone who is intelligent will ask, what is finally that underneath thing that I'm missing in my life that is not giving me complete satisfaction? And these questions everyone can relate to. But where can we get answers from these questions? One cannot figure out these questions. Hence, one should actually approach a bona fide spiritual master who can reveal answers to this question. Actually, human form of life starts when we actually ask these questions and try to get the answers. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Right? So without asking this, one is just in ignorance. Right? So do you want to live in ignorance, or do you want to be enlightened with knowledge about your own existence? If you're intelligent and you want to be enlightened, approach, find a bona fide guru, ask these questions. And these things we cannot figure out. Who can figure out this? Can anyone with their entire research and all their research labs figure out why we are subjected to the laws of karma? I mean, you cannot figure out. We can solve, okay, if you have this disease, I will give you this medicine. But can you actually address the question, why we are subjected to disease? Why are we subjected to old age? What happens at the time of death? All these questions, they are so relevant to each one of us, but we don't ask. But if you are intelligent, a person will ask. And to get the answers, we need a guru. So there is no question of like denying the need of a spiritual master. Right? So this answer, if someone challenges, we should actually have this. Like especially these questions which I said, they're very, like everyone can relate to this. So ask these questions and say like, okay, aren't these answers important to you? Everyone will agree that this is important. And hence we can say yes. If you ask these questions, yes, then you have to approach a guru, and guru will actually reveal this. And you can say that I have approached a bona fide guru and I have got these answers. I am progressing. I am on my journey. So I have that experience. Even you can actually have that experience. So it's not that there's no bona fide guru and this knowledge is not visible. It's all there. Right? You just have to take that step in the right direction. Okay. So let's take a quick break now, and then we'll come back in 5 minutes and start on chapter number 8. Okay. Thank you so much. So let's take a quick break and come back in 5 minutes. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare
Bloomerdanga, Bloomerdanga. Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. So let's start with chapter number 8. Okay. Everyone's back. Let's get started. Okay. So I'll quickly share my screen. So everyone can see my screen? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I will quickly go over the overview of this chapter, and then we'll go into the first section of this chapter. So this chapter 8, title of Manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So if you see in that entire aspect of creation up to this point, what was the last point that we read about creation? Before Vidura asked these questions about Jiva and Ishvara, what was the point before that? We read about the Virat Purusha, and then from that Virat Purusha, how manifested all the different planetary systems, living entities, varnas. We discussed all that. Now, so we have talked about Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu, Virat Purusha. Now the next aspect that is there is what? Appearance of Brahmaji. Right? So that is Sarga, and then that's Visarga. Right? 10 aspects of Bhagavatam. So Sarga is up to this point. Visarga is when we talk about from Brahma, creation of Brahma, and then from Brahma, how he actually creates. That is the aspect of Visarga. Right? So now in this chapter, we'll see how Brahma is born from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Right? So the main theme of this chapter is Brahma, he appears at the top of the lotus from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then when he's born, what does he do? He's like confused. He's like, I'm born in front on top of this lotus, and there's darkness everywhere. I do not know what to do. And we'll read in this chapter. The Brahma was confused and he looked in 4 directions. And because he looked in 4 directions, he got 4 heads. So that's why we have 4-headed Brahma. Because he looked in 4 directions, he couldn't figure it out. So he got 4 heads. And then it is said, then is described that how Brahma, he heard the word tapa, he meditated on the Lord, and then the description of the beautiful form of the Lord is described. So that's it, this chapter. And then next chapter, we'll see how Brahma starts with the entire aspect of creation. So if you see, the first section is, Maitreya Rishi is going to say, that, yes, I'm going to give you this knowledge. But one may say, what is the parampara you're getting this knowledge from? Right? So first 9 verses is up to the parampara of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Then 10 to 14 will talk about how Garbhodakshaya Vishnu lays. So it talks about like at the end of Brahma's day, how Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is lying on the water formed from his own sweat. So we are within one universe, right? So within, when the Lord enters, we sweat. Because of sweat, half of the universe is filled with water. There the Lord is lying. And how from his own navel, the lotus is born, and how Brahma actually takes birth on that. Then 15 to 23 is Brahma's birth, how he's searching for the absolute truth. And then 24 to 33 is the description of the form of the Lord that Brahma actually sees. So that's this chapter. So it is, yeah. Okay, so let's get started with the first section. And we'll start off with text number 1. Okay. So let's start.
We read this before, right? In Canto 2 about Brahma appearing on the lotus and looking around. And
So if you said in Canto 2, right?
the Canto 2, I think.
Yeah. Because Canto 2 also, we talked about the aspect of creation. The same chart we had seen from Mahatattva, that Ahankar, all those things were there in chapter 2. Now, Canto 2. Now, again, we are discussing the similar thing, but now it is more in detail. So now in Canto 3, again we'll see, but now we'll see the whole creation from Brahmaji leading up to Swayambhuva Manu, Shatarupa, and then their descendants. Right? So this is the entire, if you see our Bhagavatam, primarily a major portion of the Bhagavatam is what happened in the first Manvantara in that day of Brahma. In this day, the day we are today, in today's day of Brahma, what happened in the first Manvantara. And how many Manvantaras are there? 14.
14.
So 14 Manvantaras in the day of Brahma, but we are focusing on the first. So from here, from this third canto onwards, fourth canto, fifth canto, sixth canto, seventh canto, all is actually talking about first Manvantara. And then in eighth canto, it talks of the remaining few Manvantaras up to our Manvantara. So which Manvantara we are?
7.
Seventh Manvantara. Right? So it will talk up to Chakshusha, which is sixth Manvantara. Right? So if you see from now onwards, we are just going to read about first Manvantara of Brahmaji. Imagine Bhagavatam, where every Manvantara we are reading in so much detail. So instead of having 12 cantos, we probably have like 40, 50 cantos of Bhagavata. Because there's just one Manvantara, and then there are 6 other Manvantaras, right? I mean, 5 other Manvantaras before us. So, but anyway, so that's the point. So let's start with first verse.
Prabhuji, one question. Like I heard from somewhere, like Brahma has 5 heads and Lord Shiva plucked one head. Is that?
I have never heard that from. No. It says Brahma is born with 4 heads. It's a Chatur Mukha Brahma. Our Brahma is Chatur Mukha. There are Brahmas with other, like even it says like hundreds, thousands of heads. Brahma, depending on the size of the universe, Brahma has so many heads. But I've never heard that Brahma had 5 and one was taken out. Okay, next one.
Maitreya Uvacha Satsevaniyo Batapuru Vamsho Yalokapalo Bhagavat Pradhanaha Babhuviteha Jita Kirtimalam Pare Pare Nutana Yasya Bhikshnam.
The great sage Maitreya Muni said to Vidura, "The royal dynasty of King Puru is worthy to serve the pure devotees because all the descendants of that family are devoted to the personality of Godhead. You are also born in that family, and it is wonderful that because of your attempt, the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are becoming newer and newer at every moment."
Very beautiful verse. So, see, throughout Srimad Bhagavatam, we have heard different combinations of speaker and hearer. Right? So, what are the examples of speaker and hearer we have heard?
Parikshit and
Sudev.
Shukdev.
Okay, Parikshit Sukadeva Goswami. And in that conversation, we heard, anyways, not that immediately at the start. I think actually in the first canto, 19th chapter, we see first Parikshit glorifies Sukadeva Goswami. And later on, we see in the second canto, Sukadeva Goswami glorifies Parikshit Maharaj. So glorification is there from both ways. Who else can we see?
Suta Goswami.
Yeah,
Suta
Rishi.
Goswami, Saunaka Adi Rishi. First canto, first chapter. There also, if you see, speaker is glorifying the hearer is glorifying the speaker. Right? Then, who else?
Brahma and Lord.
Yeah, Brahma and the Lord, second canto, we heard that conversation. So wherever we see this combination of hearer and speaker, that is glorification. The hearer glorifies the speaker and the speaker glorifies the hearer. Now in the previous chapter, how has Vidura glorified Maitreya Rishi? He has actually said, first of all, when after answering the questions about the Jiva and Ishvara, then Vidura, first of all, he actually thanked Maitreya Rishi. He said, "You have explained so nicely." And then he actually made the point that it is only by service, by serving you or Maitreya Rishi, this knowledge will actually be converted to realization. Right? In that way, he said. So he's offered that, I just want to serve you or Maitreya Rishi. And then he actually said, just by serving you, I will experience that Krishna rasa. Right? That was one verse where we read the 2 benefits of service. One is one tastes the mellows of Krishna. And second is our miseries go away. Right? He's saying, just by serving you, I just want to serve you. And then that verse where he says, Durapa hi alpa tapas, where he says alpa tapasa. Where he says, so rare to find devotees like you to offer service. So I just want to serve you. And then one of the verses we read recently, the last text 39, he says it's impossible to actually receive this knowledge without a guru. So if you see, Vidura has expressed that it is without you, I cannot get this knowledge. And it's only by serving you can I actually receive this knowledge. Right? Now, if someone comes to you and says, let's take anyone, Vamshi Gopal Prabhu, comes in here and say, oh, Vamshi Gopal Prabhu, you're so nice. I just want to serve you. I just want to serve you. What would your reaction be?
Sarvadityanarayana Puja. We are all serving him.
So, see, the mood is two people are talking, and one is like, I just want to serve you. The natural mood of the other person is, actually, you are so glorious, I want to serve you. You know? Now, Maitreya Rishi is expressing that mood to Vidura. And he's saying, actually, you are worthy of worship, seva, not me. You're telling that you want to serve me, but actually, I want to serve you. Right? So now we'll read that verse. Okay. So Maitreya is saying that you are actually praying for my association, but here he says, Sat Sevanyo Bata Puru. So Bata is actually, he's actually expressing his, like if someone comes and glorifies you and says like, oh, I want to serve you, I just want to do seva to you. And you'll be like, no, I want to serve you. So that expression of, that Bata, right? Bata, he says, and then he says, obtaining your association, actually you are worthy of seva. Why? First point. Okay, so there are a few points here where how he's glorifying Vidura. The first point he says, you actually accepted birth. Now, what does this mean that you actually accepted birth? Because Vidura is Yamaraj. And we read this previously, like Yamaraj, what is his duty? He's always like, okay, you have done so much sinful activity, you go to this hell. Like in 5th canto, there are 26 hellish planets that are described. And so you did this, go to this hellish planet, go to this hellish planet. And Yamaraj was like, oh, if I'm always doing this, when is the time when I can hear Hari Katha? I want to take a break and go on a vacation, on a spiritual retreat and hear Hari Katha. And hence Yamaraj himself has come as Vidura. Right? So Maitreya Rishi knows this and says, you are Yamaraj. But you have taken birth just to come and hear Hari Katha, to speak Hari Katha. You are so glorious. So the first point is glorifying Vidura as you are Yamaraj himself. And you actually have come just to hear and to speak Hari Katha. Right? And in that way, you are actually saving me. Previous chapter, Vidura said, oh, Maitreya, you are saving me. You are giving me this knowledge. Maitreya is saying, no, you are saving me. Why? You're giving me this opportunity to speak Hari Katha. And you have come, you have taken birth just for this purpose of speaking and hearing Hari Katha. So first point. Second point, you appeared in Puru dynasty. So it says, Sat Sevana, you are actually worthy of worship. But, Vidura, you are Sat Sevaniyo. You are worthy of worship. Why? Puru Vamso. You are born in the family of the Purus. And what is so special of Puru dynasty? That everyone born in Puru dynasty is what? Bhagavad Pradhana. Right? Bhagavad Pradhana. That everyone born is actually a devotee of Bhagavan. They are not realized at Brahman level or Paramatma level. No. Their realization is Bhagwan level and they are always engaged in service to Bhagwan. Hence, your birth in Puru is so glorious that everyone in your dynasty is actually a devotee of the Lord. And hence, actually, I should serve you. Right? So, second point of glorification. So, first point is how Vidura is Yamraj who has taken birth just to hear Hari Katha. Second is he's appeared in Puru dynasty and everyone in Puru dynasty is Bhagavad Pradhana. He is actually worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Third point, among worshippers of Bhagavan, right? Among all the worshippers of Bhagavan, you are, the word is Abhikshanam. Anyone remembers where we have read this word Abhikshanam? Queen Kunti's prayers? Anyone knows that verse? Shrinvanti, Kayanti, Grinanti, Abhikshana. Abhikshana means continuously, always, right? So here he's saying that among all the worshippers of Bhagavan, you at every moment, Abhikshana, what are you doing? Kirti Mala. Mala means garland. Kirti means glorification. He's saying, oh Vidura, you are creating a garland, you are making a garland of the flowers of the glories of the Lord. Right? So what is that Kirti Mala? Like here, Vijay Radhika Mataji. She's a expert garland maker. She makes beautiful garlands for Radha Golokananda. Right? So if you see in a garland, what is there? There is a thread. There are the flowers. Right? So what is the thread here? So Maitreya is saying, oh Vidura, that thread is your taste of hearing Harikatha. Is that taste? Is the thread? And the flowers I am speaking, but you are the one who's actually putting the flowers together and making that beautiful garland of glories of the Supreme Personality of God. So Vidura, you are the garland maker. I am just giving some flowers. Like, when you're making garland, you'll have so many flowers in front of you, unlimited topics to speak about. But you are the one who's expert, who's directing, saying, okay, first red, then yellow, then red, then we'll do white, all this. So Vidura, you are the one who's directing the topics in such a way that you are the one who's creating that, making that Kirti Mala. You are the garland maker. I am just giving some flowers, but credit goes to you. Right? So you are making the garland of the glories of the Lord. And next point, you are actually keeping the garland ever fresh. Right? Normally, when we make garlands of flowers, after some time it dries up. Right? But this garland of Kirti Mala, Maitreya Rishi is saying, oh Vidura, you are keeping it ever fresh. How? Because you have put the garland over your mind and your ears. And when the topics of Krishna is in your mind, and you're always thinking about it, you're always eager to hear more, then those topics are ever fresh. So Maitreya Rishi is saying, Vidura, because you're so eager to hear Krishna Katha, you have so much taste for hearing Krishna Katha, you are the one that's making the garland, and you are the one who's actually keeping the topic so fresh. And hence these topics of Krishna Katha are Nutana Yasya. They are ever fresh, and Pade Pade. At every step, they are actually so tasty, so tasteful, so beautiful garland. So, right. So it says, here are placing the garland within the ears and your mind. And because of your attraction to hear Krishna Katha, you're keeping the topics eternally fresh. Therefore, it is your greatness, your glories, and you have asked the prayer to serve me. Actually, I should serve you. I should serve you. Such a beautiful verse. And this is our mood. It's not that if someone is a speaker, his mood is like, oh yeah, I know and others don't know. Hence, I am, it's not out of pride. Even the speaker of Bhagavad Katha is actually doing a seva to all the listeners. And of the speaker and the listener, who is more important?
Listener.
Listener, both.
Without audience speaker, who will he talk to?
Yes, so actually listeners are important. Both of them are important actually. Why? Because the listeners, as they are eager to hear Hari Katha, Krishna will speak through the mouth of the speaker. Krishna will use the speaker as an instrument, depending on how eager the audience is there to speak Hari Katha. And the speaker is also important, because if the speaker is not pure, then how can Krishna use him as an instrument? So both of them are equally important. Both of them are important, the speaker and the listener. So Maitreya Rishi is actually saying, Vidura, you're saying all glories to me because I am speaking. Actually, you're the one who's creating the garland, and glories to you. I should serve you. I should serve you. Right? So beautiful. Especially that Kirti Mala, it's nice to meditate on. Vijay Radhika Mata, making garlands you can meditate on. When we are hearing Hari Katha, we are actually taking the different topics and putting them together by a taste of hearing Hari Katha. Right? The thread is our taste for hearing Hari Katha. Right? So in this way, he is actually glorifying Vidura and saying that actually you are Sat Sevaniyo. You are worthy of Seva. So that's the first verse. And then here, also that pade pade. Do you remember any other verse? Pade pade? Sadhu, sadhu, pade pade. Swadu, swadu, pade pade. I'm sure you remember this. First canto, first chapter. There is this verse. Right? Vayam tu na vitripyama uttama shloka vikrame yet shrinvatam rasagyanam swadu sadhu pade pade. Who's telling this? Shonakadi Rishi actually tell to Suta Goswami. That we never tire from here. Vitripyama. We never tire from hearing these topics. Hence you keep speaking these topics because swadu swadu pade pade. At every step there is swadu swadu. We relish this Harikatha. Right? So those who have developed a taste for hearing Harikatha, they relish hearing of these pastimes at every moment. Every moment. Okay. And Prabhupada in the purport, he makes this point. He says, by the association of devotees, one can accelerate one's dormant propensities for devotional service. So you can see Prabhupada's selection of words. He says, one can accelerate one's dormant propensities of devotional service. Like I was thinking of this example, like sometimes in India, you see the car does not start. What did they do? They'll push the car from behind, right? So if you see the car has the tendency to start and run, right? There is fuel, everything. But the people are pushing from behind. Similarly, association of devotees is accelerating our devotion. That the devotional service is dormant in the heart, the dormant propensities are there. But by association of devotees, it is accelerated, just like when people push the car, you know. And what is the driver supposed to do at the time? Not press the brakes, right? He actually should just say, okay, when the push is coming, you accept it, just keep the steering in the right direction, and then it will pick up momentum. So similarly, in the association of devotees, don't press brakes. We are getting all that acceleration. But if you actually press the brakes, then what will happen? We cannot progress. So being in the association of devotees is like acceleration or dormant propensities of devotion service. So don't hit the brake, just keep the steering wheel in the right direction. Yes, I am getting this association. I want to make the best use of the association and progress in my spiritual life. So if you're not making any mistakes, then that kind of association will accelerate our bhakti. Okay? Okay, text 2. So the first verse is very beautiful and a nice verse to meditate on. Okay, text 2 is also very nice. Go ahead.
Soham rinam kshula sukhaya dukam mahadgatanam viramaya tasya pravartaye bhagavatam puranam yad aha sakshad bhagavan rishibhyaha.
Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let me now begin speaking on the Bhagavad Purana, which was directly spoken to the great sages by the personality of Godhead for the benefit of those who are entangled in extreme miseries for the sake of very little pleasure. Hare Krishna.
So, if you remember in 3rd canto, 5th chapter, text number 2, 352, Vidura asked this question. And what was the question Vidura asked? Sukhaya karmani karoti loko na tai sukham vanyad uparamam va. Basically, he said, Vidura is saying, oh Maitreya Rishi, everyone in this world is engaged in fruitive activities to attain happiness. And one finds neither satiation nor mitigation of distress. Right? Everyone is engaged in activities. Like, okay, if I just do this, I'll be happy. But how is it working out? They neither get satiation nor their miseries go away. On the contrary, such activities are only aggravated. Therefore, tell us how one should act in such a way one can actually get real happiness. That was the question Vidura asked. And the answer to the question is this verse here. So Maitreya Rishi is answering Vidura's question in 352, that everyone in this world is working for happiness, but they are not getting it. How can one be happy in this world? You please tell. And what is the answer here? First of all, Maitreya Rishi is saying, Soham Nrinam. Nrinam referring to all the human beings. This you can memorize these 4 words. Shulla Sukhaya, Shulla Sukhaya, Dukham Mahat. Shulla Sukhaya, Dukham Mahat. Right? Actually, this entire verse is one of the verses for memorization. But Soham Rinam Shulla Sukhaya Dukham Mahat. Shulla Sukhaya. Sukhaya is happiness. Shulla means what? Very little. So any kind of happiness in this material world is Shulla. Very little, but how is the Dukham? Mahat. Very big. Shulla Sukhaya Dukham Mahat. And how can we understand this? Like how Prabhupada explains this. He actually says, how everyone in this material world, they're working so hard. They leave like 6:30 in the morning, drive such a long distance, work like 10, 12, 14 hours a day. And then they come back, again driving a long distance, come back late night. And then what they do? What is their pleasure? And then Prabhupada says, just they eat a little bit and they enjoy sex pleasure. That's it. So they're working so hard, maybe 16 to 17 hours every day. They're working so hard. And what is their happiness? Just one tiny moment, either in sex pleasure or a little bit food. What is the happiness? So the Shulla Sukhaya, it is so less. But Mahat Dukham, you have to work 18 hours just for that one drop of happiness. That is the nature of this material world. And recently I heard this example. Material world happiness is just like this. If you have a favorite sweet, like gulab jamun, normally you eat it, you get a little taste, you feel like, oh, nice. Now, the happiness in this material world is compared to a gulab jamun that, as you eat, is very sweet, but you have to pay a price for it. So I'm saying like, okay, I'm giving you a gulab jamun, but each gulab jamun is $500. Would you relish that? Every bite you'll be like, oh, $200 gone. Oh, $300 gone. Oh, $500 gone. That is the kind of happiness. Every happiness is so limited, but the price is so big. And while you're enjoying, you're always thinking of, oh, maybe this wrong will happen. I have to pay this bill. I have to do this. I have to do this. All the anxieties associated with even a Shulla Sukhaya. Like now, it's very common that people actually, they say, oh, we are going to drive such a far distance. Why? Because there's this new restaurant in town. They all the way, and then they order something, and just little one drop. But how much? They had spent so much time, so much energy, so much money. And finally, is there a guarantee that they'll enjoy? They go to a restaurant and like, oh, third class food. So that is the nature of material happiness. So Maitreya is saying, Shulla Sukhaya, Soham Rinam. All the human beings, they are engaged in Shulla Sukhaya, but there is Dukham Mahat. What is the solution? He's answering the question, right? He's answering the question. So what is the solution? Then he says, Gatana Viramaya Tasya. So this Viramaya, but that is a mitigation, right? That is a mitigation. How is that? The mitigation is Pravartya Bhagavatam Puranam. The mitigation to that is what? Srimad Bhagavatam. And then further it says, Aha Shakshat Bhagwan Rishibhi. That Bhagavatam which actually Krishna personally, Shakshat Bhagwan personally spoke to the sages. So 2 points here, right? One is hearing Bhagavatam itself is actually will give us so much nectar that all the Shulla Sukhaya with that Mahat Dukham will no longer exist. You will experience that higher level of happiness, right? Where we'll actually Pibantiye Bhagavata Atmana Satam. We'll drink the nectar of Bhagavatam. We'll be so happy that Shulla Sukhaya will be like, I don't care for that Shulla Sukhaya. One is that. Second is Bhagavatam will give all the answers. Will give the process and all the answers for you to actually get above the Shulla Sukhaya and come to the ultimate happiness. So Bhagavatam itself is a solution, and second is Bhagavatam will give you the solution. Right? So that is the point Maitreya Rishi. So he answered the question that how can people act in this world so that they can get real happiness? And what is the answer? What's the answer, Maitreyi Rishi saying?
Srimad Bhagavatam.
That's it. Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer. Distribute Srimad Bhagavatam, encourage everyone to drink the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam, and all their miseries will be over. Right? Okay. And then further, he's actually making the point that that he says, Sakshat Bhagwan Rishibhi, that the Lord himself spoke it to the sages. So here he's actually talking of one parampara, which will continue in the next verse. The Lord spoke to certain sages and then they passed it on to us. And then I was received it in this line, and hence I am speaking from that line. Right? Okay. So that will come to the next verse. But here, Prabhupada in the purport, he makes few more points here. Okay. And then he says, solution to all the problems of human society is that actually in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? And that's the reason Vyasa compiled, right? He said, Anartho Pashanam Shakshat Bhakti Yogam Adokshajay. People are suffering because of so many anarthas. Anartho Pashanam Shakshat Bhakti Yogam Adokshajay. Solution is what? Bhakti Yoga. Lokasya Janato Vidvam. But the people in general, they do not know this. Right? And hence Chakre Satvata Samhita. Hence Vyasa compiled this Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Then further, second Prabhupada makes a point. He says, we are so fortunate to have the association to hear Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees. We are so fortunate to hear Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees. Right? Only one who's fortunate can have the opportunity of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees. So, if you think about this, our great fortune. Now, when we are studying Srimad Bhagavatam, we should meditate on how fortunate we are to actually, when we are studying Srimad Bhagavatam, we are actually studying Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of Srila Prabhupada. Because Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee who has given this explanation to Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we sit down to read Bhagavatam, we can meditate. We are so fortunate that we are sitting in the association of Srila Prabhupada and getting the words of Srila Prabhupada. Not only that, we can go more and say, oh, we are actually studying Srimad Bhagavatam, we are in the association of Srila Prabhupada. And not only Srila Prabhupada, but the previous Acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because we are reading his commentary. Right? And not only that, one can go further and say that, oh, actually we are sitting in the association of Sukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, because they are the speakers of the Bhagavatam. So we are so fortunate. Vidura, Yamaraj, he left his job, right? He took a break. He said, I need PTO, I need to go down and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So he came here, and what did he hear? Only 2 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. He's a pure devotee, but just to make the point, he heard 3rd canto, 4th canto. And after he said, okay, I have to go and free Dhritarashtra. He's still suffering. 2 cantos. And we are so fortunate. We can read all 12 cantos Prabhupada has given us. And we can read in the association of Srila Prabhupada. So fortunate, right? So Prabhupada talks, only those who are fortunate can actually have this, read Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of such wonderful devotees, right? And then Prabhupada says, if one comes in contact with the book Bhagavatam as well as the devotee Bhagavatam, which is the verse that talks of book Bhagavatam and devotee Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter.
Is it Nashtaprayesha Bhadresha?
Nityam
Nityam
Bhagavatam.
Bhagavata Sevaya.
Yes, very nice. Nashtaprayasha Bhadresha, Nityam Bhagavata Seva. And Prabhupada says that Bhagavatam is what? The book Bhagavata and the person Bhagavata. You have to serve the book Bhagavata and the person Bhagavata. Nashtaprayashu Abhadreshu. Everything Abhadra will be washed away by that service, right? So here Prabhupada is saying, if one comes in contact with book Bhagavata as well as devotee Bhagavata, and devotee Bhagavata is one who actually lives Bhagavatam, then such a person, fortunate person, gets out of material entanglement. So we are so fortunate that if we continue relishing Bhagavatam, for sure we'll get out of this material world and we'll attain the lotus feet of Krishna. No doubt about it. That's what Prabhupada has given us. Okay, text number 3.
Asinamurvyam Bhagavantamadhyam Sankarshanam Devamakunta Sattvam Vivit Savastat Vamata Parasya Kumara Mukhya Munayon Vaprichan.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Some time ago, being inquisitive to know, Sanat Kumara, the chief of the boy saints, accompanied by other great sages, inquired exactly like you about the truths regarding Vasudeva, the Supreme, from Lord Sankarshana, who is seated at the bottom of the universe. Hare Krishna.
So whenever questions are asked, what do the speaker do? They say, actually, the same question was asked by this person, and hence I will tell their conversation. Actually, if you see in 7th canto, there is one place where you read 5 levels of conversation. First is Sukdev telling to Parikshit Maharaj. Then second level, Suta Goswami telling to Shaunakadi Rishi. Then third level is Yudhishthira Maharaj, Narad Muni speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj, right? And then after that, the fourth level is Hiranyakashipu, even he's there, he's speaking to his mother and the wives of Hiranyaksha. And then fifth level, he's speaking of whom? He's saying actually even the Yamaraj, he came as a boy to talk to the queens of, what's the name of the king? Anyone remembers? Anyway, that he talks about like a king who was killed in the battlefield. And he's saying like how Yamraj came as a boy to give knowledge to those. So we read like level after level after level. So fifth level conversation we are reading in the 7th canto. But that's the way we actually get the knowledge. When we are asked questions, we say, oh, actually Prabhupada has answered this in this way. And then, or we quote from Bhagavatam, oh, this question has been asked here. Arjun asked the same question to Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. And then that makes our knowledge authoritative. So here Maitreya Rishi is actually making the point. And he's saying, Urvyam means at the bottom of the universe, like Asinam, seated. Bhagwantam Adhyam. Who is seated at the bottom of the universe? Who is holding the universe on his head, on his hood? Sankarshan. Sankarshan is actually on Ananta Shesh, and on the tip of Ananta Shesh, the entire universe is actually supported. So he's actually saying that Adyam, Sankarsham Devam, that Sankarshan, okay, who was actually seated at the bottom of the universe, then Kumara Mukhya, Sunat Kumara, and the other Muniyo, they actually Anuprashan. They actually asked this question. So Sanat Kumara with other sages, they asked this question to Sankarshan, right? And what did they ask the question? Parasya, regarding Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they are coming to Sankarshan, Sanat Kumara and sages, and they are asking Sankarshan about the original personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, right? And then Tattvam, a truth like this, like how you have asked, similarly they ask Sankarshan about Vasudeva, and Akunta Sattvam, right? And this is actually, knowledge is indestructible, right? Indestructible knowledge. Okay, so we are reading the Parampara. So basically here Maitreya Rishi is going to say that I'm going to give you answers, but I'll give you answers of someone who's already spoken this. And who's the speaker here? Who's the conversation he's relating to? Spoken by Sankarshan to Sanat Kumar and the sages. Okay. Next, text 4. So text 4 describes Sankarshan now.
Swameva Dishnyam Bahumanayantam Yadvasudevabhidam Amananti Pratyagritaksham Bhujakoshamishad Unmilayantam Vibudho Dayaya. At that time, Lord Sankarshan was meditating upon his Supreme Lord, whom the learned esteem as Lord Vasudeva. But for the sake of the advancement of the great learned sages, he slightly opened his lotus-like eyes and began to speak.
So Sankarshan is described here. And what is Sankarshan doing? Who is Sankarshan? The expansion of the Lord, right? So it says here, Swam eva dishyam. Right? So here, when you say Swam dishyam, it means that Sankarshan is meditating on his own shelter. Who is the shelter, Ashraya of Sankarshan? Vasudeva, the original personality of God. So Sankarshan is meditating on Vasudeva, right? And then further he says, Manayantam, whom the esteem call Vasudeva. So he's meditating on his shelter, whom all the great sages, they call Vasudeva, right? Abhidham, his name is Vasudeva. And then Pratak Drita Akshara. So eyes have described by 2 words. One is Prithak Drita. means his eyes were slightly closed. Why? Because the eyes was focused inward on the meditation of Vasudev, and inward he was actually meditating on the beautiful form of Vasudev. And when the question was asked, what did he do? Then he slightly opened his eyes. So next one, Ambuja Kosham. His lotus-like eyes, unmilyantam, slightly open. Why? For the sake, Udayaya, for the sake of giving knowledge to the Vibhuda, to the sages. Right? So that Sankarshan is always meditating on Vasudev, whose eyes are inward. He slightly opened his eyes to give knowledge to the sages. Okay, next slide.
Svardunyudarar Svajata Kalapar Upasprishantas Charanopadanam Padmam Yadarchan Yahiraja Kanya Sapremanana Balibhirvarata.
Translation. The sages came from the highest planets down to the lower region through water of the Ganges, and therefore the hair on their heads was wet. They touched the lotus feet of the Lord, which are worshipped with various paraphernalia by the daughters of the Serpent King when they desire good husbands.
Mhm. So now it is talking about the sages. Now Sanat Kumar and Mito, other Muniya, they came to Sankarshan to ask questions. But how did they come? They take American Airlines to come?
Through the Ganges, he says.
Through the Ganges. And the point is made that the Ganges actually flows from the highest planetary system to Patal Loka. And Prabhupada mentioned the point. It is this celestial river is the only river that flows all across the universe. And we'll be reading further in the later cantos about how Ganges actually descends from the spiritual world, how Vamana they expand, and there's a crack in the universe, and then the celestial water entered, and then how Bhagirath actually brought the Ganges to earth. We'll read all that. But this is Ganges that flows from the topmost place in the universe down to Patal Loka. And the sages, the mystic yogis, they actually use this, the Ganges airways or Ganges waterways, to actually travel from the highest planet to the Patal Lok. So they travel through the Ganges. And how is the Ganges described? And particularly it says, Ardhai Swajata Kalapihi. Kalapihi means their hair. When they were traveling through the Ganges, their hair was actually became wet. Why is this hair is actually become wet? Why would someone mention that? Because their hair is wet, washed by the wet by the Ganges water. And what is the Ganges water? It is actually Charana Upadhana. It is the water that has touched the lotus feet of the Lord, or which is emanating from the lotus feet of the Lord. And what do we call water that has washed the lotus feet of the Lord? Charana Amrit. Charana Amrita. So their hair is wet because they have actually touched the water that has washed the lotus feet of the Lord. So just by their traveling, they are actually getting the blessings of the lotus feet of the Lord. And finally, when they came to the Lord, then Upashranta. Then they again touched the charana, the lotus feet of the Lord. And then further it says, Yet Archanti. And these lotus feet are actually worshipped by Ahiraja Kanya. Kanya means daughter, daughters of the serpent king. They actually worship these lotus feet with great devotion, serve prema, nana labhihi, with various paraphernalia, vara artha, desiring of husband. So these lotus feet are actually worshipped by the wives, by the daughters of the serpent king to actually get good husbands. Right? So one way is just glorifying that lotus feet. But the main point here is how they were bathed. Their hair was wet with the water that is washed, which is touched by the lotus feet of the Lord. And the sages, they came down through the Ganges water. Prabhupada makes this point in purport. Whoever touches the water of the Ganges to his head surely touches the lotus feet of the Lord directly. Such a nice meditation, right? When you're touching, like sometimes, like even in my house, we have like Ganges water. From India, you go, they get bottles of Ganges water, right? When you're touching that to your head, Prabhupada is saying what? You're directly touching the lotus feet of the Lord. And if you're directly touching the lotus feet of the Lord, then certainly you'll get purified. Where is the question of anarthas remaining when you have directly touching the lotus feet or not? But the problem is, Prabhupada says, that even after getting that purified, then what do? Just like elephants. Elephant, they take a bath, they come back, and then they put the dust back on their skin to protect it from the sun. Right? So similarly, like once we get purified, that means that we should remain purified. But after getting purified, again we actually take back the same lifestyle, then again we are coming sinful activities. Then what is the use? Just like the bath of an elephant, that's no use. And similarly, so Prabhupada says, if after taking a bath in Ganges or being washed of all sins, a man guards himself against committing further sins, then certainly he'll be delivered. Certainly he'll be delivered. Because then there are shlokas in our Puranas. You'll find so many shlokas. Even if one takes a bath in the Ganges once, he'll be delivered. They are not exaggerations. But once you are purified, you shouldn't commit the sinful activity again. So once you take the bath, you understand that now I'm purified. Now I want to maintain that level of purity. Okay. Prabhupada actually, often in his classes, he criticizes this weekly atonement. They do sins, and at the end of the sins, go to the church or wherever and say like, "Oh, please forgive us. We have sinned, oh Lord." And then, okay, you ask for forgiveness. I'm very merciful. I'll forgive you. But then next week, again, you commit the same sin. Then what is the use? What is the use of that? Like, and there's a joke, they say like, one person used to come every week to the church and used to say, "Oh, Father, I have sinned. Please forgive me." And Father said, "Okay, you're forgiven." And he used to give, okay, $10. That's like dakshina. And every week, $10. And it was like a routine. Every week he comes, gives $10. And so he did some sin and he's asking for atonement. Right? And once he came, he said the same thing. "Oh, Father, please forgive me." And he gave $20. I was like, wait, double, $20. He said, "Next week I'm on vacation. So for the sins I'm going to commit, I'm already giving you $20, so you can forgive me for that." What is the point of that kind of atonement if you're like saying, "Okay, I am going to commit a crime, but now I'm always saying forgiveness, and then I'm going to commit the crime." What is the use of that? Right? So that's the point Prabhupada says. Okay. So let's see time. Okay, let's just to get the flow. I'll just explain maybe the next few verses basically, and we'll come back to this. But see, so we have talked about Maitreya Rishi is saying that Sankarshan, the Sanat Kumar and sages, they asked Sankarshan, and Sankarshan spoke the Bhagavatam. He was always meditating on Vasudev, and they asked Sankarshan about Vasudev, and then Sankarshan spoke this knowledge. And further, it actually says that how this knowledge that Sankarshan spoke to Sanat Kumar and the sages was then spoken to Sankhya Muni, and then Sankhya Muni spoke to Parashar Muni, and then Parashar Muni spoke to me, Maitreya. So this parampara, which is coming from Sankarshan, is which parampara? So 4 paramparas we have, right? One is Brahma, he receives knowledge from Krishna. He gives it to Narada. Narada gives to Vyas. That is our line. This is the second, other parampara. What is it? Kumara Sampradaya. That Kumara, the Sanat Kumar, received knowledge from Sankarshan. And then he passed it down. And one of those personalities in that parampara is Maitreya Rishi. And Maitreya Rishi is giving that knowledge to Vidura. Right? So another lineage we see, but the knowledge is the same. It's just different authorities are giving this knowledge, but the knowledge is the same. So first 9 shlokas are basically establishing that parampara. And then Maitreya Rishi, from text 10 onwards, he will continue the conversation. Right? The creation, how Brahma is born, and things like that. He'll continue from text 10. Okay. Okay, so stop here. Thank you all so much. Any quick comments, questions, realizations?
Prabhuji, I like it that the propensity of devotional service is already dormant in us. And by the association of pure devotees, we can accelerate that.
You can think of the car example. I really like that example. Everyone is pushing our car. As soon as we're in association of devotees, our car is being pushed. The propensity is there of devotion service. The car has that potency to start. Everyone is pushing. Don't hit the brakes. Just keep the steering wheel straight and you will progress. You will progress. Just be in the association of devotees. Thank you. Anything else?
Prabhuji, every universe will be on top of Sankarshan. So there are a lot of universes, right? So lot of Sankarshan.
Yeah. Different forms of Sankarshan. Like how we have different expansion. Garbhodakshay, Karnadakshay, Shirodakshay. There is also Anantashesh. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, in 5th chapter, Nityananda's Prabhu's expansion, it talks about Karnadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Shirodakshay Vishnu, every universe, and Anantashesh, every universe. And it's on Anantashesh hood, the universes rest. We'll come to this in the 5th canto when we read the description of the entire universe.
Every universe has one Anantashesh Prabhu. Is that what you're saying?
Every universe rests on Anantashesh.
Okay.
Rests on
One universe Prabhu or one planet?
No, universe.
Universe.
Entire universe. The Brahman.
Bubbles.
Yeah,
All these bubbles.
where Brahmaji is there and
Yeah.
full Brahmanda.
The garland explanation is so nice, Prabhuji. Like the thread is the taste of devotion, and how Vidura was asking all the questions like different colors of flowers.
Kirti Mala.
Kirti.
Kirti Mala. Right? Kirti Mala. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I really liked hearing about the importance of the parampara, getting our knowledge through the disciplic succession. I mean, it's like if you go to the university, even in mundane topics, you know, like engineering or chemistry, they're teaching you to look at what was done in the past and to learn first to get the foundation from those who have come before you. But here, we're trying to find answers to the most important questions of life, like, who am I? You know, what is the goal of life? Why am I here? Who is God? And to think that we don't need to take guidance, you know, and from a spiritual master, from those who have come before us, I think it's sort of ludicrous.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for a nice point. Very nice. Okay. Anything else?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, ma'am.
I like the point where, when we come in contact with the book Bhagavatam or a devotee Bhagavatam, all our miseries are taken care of.
Yes. Thank you.
I
So
like that. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say that how that second verse of this is answering that question, and the answer is Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Good.
Well, I like that as a speaker, our mood is in a mood of service, and that we're actually grateful for the audience, because without the audience, like by the intensity of their eagerness, that Krishna empowers us to speak. So that mood of a service while we're taking a role of speaking. That was nice.
So there's no question of, oh, I am superior to you. It is all in the mood of seva. I am serving you, right? Everyone, we are a mood is that of service. Thank you. Anything else?
Just one question is putting the brakes. What could be putting the brakes when everyone's pushing us from behind, and how?
It could just be like, we are in the association of devotees, everyone nice kirtan, but where is our mind? Oh, we are thinking, tomorrow this cricket game is there. I'm going to watch this game. You know, it could be anything. Our material attachments are like putting brakes. Right? We are just focused on our material attachment in spite of this wonderful association. That's an impediment right there. So any obstacle to our devotional service, our own anarthas, our own material attachments, or mundane gossip, all those things, they are impediments, hitting the brakes. Okay. So let's stop here. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vanchakalpatarubhyasya, Kripa Sindhubhya evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. So thank you all so much for your kind association. As we discussed, the listeners are more important. So thank you all so much for joining every week and giving me an opportunity to serve all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Krishna is speaking through you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Thank you.